Not seeing any crashes on the interstates, but the slow drive home out of downtown is underway. Right now, we're starting to see that backup build eastbound to 40 to go westbound on 24. Traffic coming up every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good afternoon, everybody. 7 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Brian Wilson in the chair and on the air all the way till 7 o'clock on this Friday. Man, I'm telling you, a little chilly this morning, but it's turning off nice. Just a hair under 70 degrees. Abundant sunshine. We got a good show lined up for you. A lot of stuff to cover. And, of course, since it's Friday, not one, but two exciting editions of Fone URFARB Friday. The first at 3:35, the second at 4:35. And you know what? Get your thoughts together. Don't just try to wing it. I mean, no, come on. Put some thought into what you're going to say. You know, we have high standards here on this program. You know, when you get the step up on that 100,000-watt soapbox, we want you to have your thoughts in a coherent, concise, controversial. You can be controversial. You can be, if you have the ability. If you don't try. You can be comedic.
Last thing we want is a Joe Biden moment.
Yeah, no, we don't
want something like that.
We don't want anybody acting like Joe Biden.
Well, that comes at the top and bottom of every hour.
Well, it comes. Yeah. No. We have the best news guy in all of radio right here. So, I want to start out with some 2024 news. Let's play the music. Why not? There it is. We got a lot of ground to cover here today. I got some numbers just a few moments ago from Trey Hargett's office. The Secretary of State is responsible for carrying out the elections, and you know, it looks like people in the state of Tennessee are turning out in pretty big numbers. I got some total numbers here. 341,934. So just about 342,000 people have voted in person around the state of Tennessee already with 2 days of early voting. 44,000 ballots have been mailed back in, and that brings the total to 386,000 and change. 386,000 people have already voted in Tennessee for this upcoming election. You want to know some of the counties rather? Davidson had 37,000 people over 2 days. Now, that's interesting because Davidson County, overwhelmingly blue. The other counties around that are overwhelmingly red but don't have the population of Davidson, let's look at some of those. Rutherford. 22,000 people have cast a ballot so far. Williamson County, 20,000. Wilson County, 11,000 and change. And Sumner County, 9,000. So, the question is, how many Democrats are going to show up in these major metropolitan areas versus how many people are going to show up in the outlying areas, which there are many more of. I would say right now, I like the looks of all of this. And what I'm really glad is that it would appear that Republicans are taking the advice of the party and trying to vote early. Now, this is day number 3. You can vote early. All the way up until the day before Halloween, and then that's done. Or Halloween. So there you go. Now let's see. Let's talk about some numbers real quick. I'll crank these out very quickly. I don't have a lot to share with you. Harris leads by 1.6 points, so less than 2 points in the general election. Real Clear Politics average, but when you look back and see, well, Biden won in 2020, where was he at this particular point? He was leading by 9 points. 9 points. So Harris is underperforming, and she's underperforming what Hillary had in 2016 by a good amount. Remember, popular vote doesn't really mean all that much. In the battleground states, Real Clear Politics battleground averages, Trump leads in all of them, all 7 of the battleground states. Now, in some of them, it ain't by much. It's less than a point in 2 or 3 of these states. But the trend is definitely toward Trump and away from Harris in the battleground states. But as I need to stress, don't get thrilled about that. Don't get complacent about that, because everything, the entire thing is definitely within the margin of error. So, we're going by what the polls show, but you know how the polls are. Senate races, I am, again, more encouraged. Some things are happening. The Republican in Ohio may take out Sherrod Brown. And that would be a real good pickup. Moreno leading in that race by 1. Arizona, it looks like Kerry Lake is not going to get it done if these polls have been accurate. I've seen several like this. Gallego, the Democrat, leading by 9. Many people have been worried about Texas. There's a University of Texas poll that came out today that said Ted Cruz is leading by 7. I hope that's right. It feels right. It should be about right, but we'll see. In Montana, that's going to be a real easy pickup, I think, for the Republicans. Sheehy, the Republican, up by 8 over John Tester, the Democrat incumbent. Here is one for you. Wisconsin. Tammy Baldwin is the incumbent Democrat, and she leads by only 1 point. Wow. Michigan, the Democrat Slotkin up by 4. So Republicans, we're going to pick up West Virginia. There's a chance we could pick up Ohio. We're going to pick up Montana, it seems. And I don't know, maybe Wisconsin. Maybe Wisconsin, and I don't think we're going to lose any races. If this poll from Texas is right, calling all red is outside the margin of error behind. So that would be four pickups. That would give us solid control of the United States Senate. The House, it is so close. I can't predict it, but I don't have great feelings about the House, strong feelings about the Senate. And, I like what I see in the trend toward Trump, but who knows if these polls are anywhere close, because everything is within the margin of error. All right, so we got that all out of the way. The Big Al Smith dinner, if you don't know, there's a Catholic dinner put on by the Catholic charities there in New York City called the Al Smith Dinner. And by tradition, presidential candidates in election years come to this dinner and they make an appearance and they raise money for charity. And usually both the Republican and the Democrat show up. This year, Trump shows up in his white tie and tails. As required at this dinner, and Kamala Harris sent in a message by video. Jim Gaffigan, the comedian, I love him. Do you like Jim Gaffigan?
Oh yeah, he's good.
Oh, he's hilarious,
yeah.
And I think he and the guy. I'm having a blank moment for. This is what happens when you've been broadcasting for 50 years. Nate Bargatze. I like him. Those are my 2 favorite comedians right now. He is Catholic and has showed up here. And he sort of took a hit on this thing. I thought it was pretty good.
22% of Americans identify as Catholic. Catholics will be a key demographic in every battleground state. I'm sorry, why is Vice President Harris not here? I mean, consider this. This is a room full of Catholics and Jews in New York City. This is a layup for the Democratic nominee. I mean, in her defense, she did find time to appear on The View, Howard Stern, Colbert, and the longtime staple of campaigning, the Call Her Daddy podcast. You know what I think it is? I think she doesn't like me. Chuck, do I have bad breath?
Turning to Chuck Schumer, who is there. I mean, it is a bipartisan event, but Gaffigan continued.
The Democrats have been telling us Trump's reelection is a threat to democracy. In fact, they were so concerned of this threat, they staged a coup, ousted their democratically elected incumbent, and installed Kamala Harris. In other words, all her dreams have come true. Really? It really makes you consider the power of prayer, right, Cardinal? Sometimes prayers take 3.5 years and a George Clooney op-ed.
That's priceless. But I mean, he makes a very interesting point there. You know, Trump's the threat to democracy, but look what you did in your own party. You basically did stage a coup and threw the guy who got the votes through the democratic process and ousted him pretty much. You know, he was marched out off the plank at sea on a pirate ship. So there, I think it's a very good point. Trump went after Kamala Harris in his comments there at the Al Smith dinner.
I would not have missed the Al Smith dinner for anything in the world. I still remember coming here. The two candidates for president are supposed to exchange good-natured barbs, and you know we get along very well. I didn't like Biden very much, and now I like him quite a bit. You know, but if you really wanted Vice President Harris to accept your invitation, I guess you should have told her the funds were going to bail out the looters and rioters in Minneapolis, and she would have been here, guaranteed she would have been here. Guaranteed. She would have been okay. She would have been okay with that.
He was pretty funny. I think he sort of does tend to ramble off topic and come back a lot. But, you know, we've all come to understand that's just the way Trump is. Also, as long as we're doing 2024 stuff, Harry Enton, the number cruncher over at CNN, makes the point that Trump is more popular this time around than he has been in past elections. And Kamala Harris is more popular than Trump. But that doesn't mean anything.
Why is Trump more popular now than he was at this point in 2020 and 2016? I think there's this real question in Kamala Harris's mind, in the campaign's mind, why is Trump more popular now than he was at this point in 2020 and 2016? And I think that is why you're seeing the sharpening attacks, because they want to put him back down to here, or even there's no way that they're necessarily going to back down to here, but they want to make Trump more unpopular than he is right now, because he's more popular now than at either point in 2020 or 2016.
So this could be what they're saying.
Yeah, look. Kamala Harris is more popular than Donald Trump, but Kamala Harris had her popularity rising once, of course, she became the presumptive Democratic nominee. Look, she was at minus 15 points back on July 17th, then minus 4 points on August 17th, then 1 point on September, plus 1 point. She was actually in positive territory a month ago, but she has fallen back down to minus 1. The momentum of Kamala Harris has stalled. And I think they feel like they have to change something that's going on in their campaign, because they were seeing a rise and now it is stalled out. Look, she's still more popular than Trump, but look, Joe Biden was more popular than Trump, much more, and barely won. And Hillary Clinton was more popular than Donald Trump and lost. Being more popular than Trump isn't enough. She wants to continue to see her favorabilities rise, but in fact, they're going in the wrong direction.
How about that, huh? Pretty good stuff. All right, we'll call that now a time for a commercial break at 20 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. So get ready for Genesis Diamond's largest ever sale on luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. If you've ever dreamed of wearing a Rolex, you can't miss this special two-day event later this month, October 25th and 26th. Now, during this event, you can take advantage of special pricing and zero-interest financing on a stunning selection of luxurious pre-owned Rolex timepieces. Genesis has brought in hundreds and hundreds of amazing Rolex watches, all the hard-to-find models, including Submariners and and Daytonas. All of Genesis luxury pre-owned Rolexes are in pristine, like-new condition, some right out of the box, all priced to sell at this event. And listen to this. With the purchase of any luxury pre-owned Rolex at this event, Genesis will give you a pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond stud earrings free. That's a $3,000 value. Also, if you currently own a Rolex, Genesis pre-owned Rolex buyers will be on site for you to trade in or sell your timepiece. You'll receive top dollar. Come see the largest selection of luxury and pre-owned Rolex watches in the state and take advantage of special financing and get a pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond stud earrings free. 25th and 26th of October only, and only at Genesis Diamonds in Green Hills in Cool Springs.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
We've got new details on a shooting in broad daylight in West Nashville today. We'll tell you about it at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom, bringing you all of the news from around the world and across the nation, up your street and down your alley. And there behind the glass, pushing the blinky buttons, is Chris Weber, as he is doing an able job there. We want to remind you that coming up after the news at the bottom of the hour, round one of Fone URFARB Friday. Get your thoughts together. Be clear, concise, coherent, comedic, or caustic, and clean. All those things would be appreciated.
Nice.
You know, I have been very interested in how things are going in eastern Tennessee after the big floods there. And as it turns out, a good friend of this program and a sponsor of this program is there delivering goods that have been sort of, the money was raised right here for that big concert they had the other day. Dr. Kevin Mitchell from the Wellness Institute of Nashville is on the line from eastern Tennessee, where he's been, laying eyeballs on exactly what's going on. Dr. Mitchell, thanks for joining us here on The Drive. First of all, the stuff that you're taking down here, the goods that you're dropping off that are helping people, this was raised at that concert the other day, correct?
It 100% was, and we also delivered hay to Pigeon Forge and feed for horses and animals, and we got supplies and heaters for RVs because some of these homes, it's kind of sad that they're. Just give me a second. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, I can tell you're looking at a lot of damage, and you can only when you're there, your heart goes out to people who are really struggling because they have lost everything. Tell me some of the things that you've seen that have sort of stuck with you.
Well, we're seeing big pits where homes used to be. And this is in Valley Forge. And it's pushing the septic systems up to the top. And I guess there's some sewer and contamination. And everyone says don't drink the water.
Yeah.
But literally, I was talking to a guy here, and he said the water coming off the Jenkins Mountain was the width of a football field and 8 to 10 feet high.
Good Lord.
And it all came together and just flooded what's called the river bottom here at Valley Forge. And there were 4 trailers taken out and one home totally destroyed and multiple buildings and the Long Hollow Bridge. I don't know if you've seen that, but that's destroyed. And the hardest thing is the little kids' toys. Seeing the toys throughout and the sand. There's so much sand that just came up from this and that's under the homes. And there's a lot of people that can't afford to rebuild.
Yeah, and probably didn't have any flood insurance because they never imagined they would need it.
And I don't think some of them can afford it.
Yeah, that's probably true.
So you have poverty on top of devastation. But on the good point of this is I've never seen so many people work together, especially young people and churches. And, with some of the older people, I think they're just devastated. They're on retirement income and the young people's coming in saving the day. They're giving them hope, and the women at the churches are supplying foods free in the landfill. We've been taking stuff to the landfill, and it's there's no charge today. It's open a couple extra hours, and I saw the National Guard hauling in stuff. So everyone's pulling together in a very good spirit to save this community.
All right. Well, you were down there as a private citizen, doing good work there. There have been a lot of other private charities that have been down. As you say, a lot of churches have really answered the call. Have you seen FEMA?
I haven't seen them. I've heard some people say, they've stopped in and said they need to have a conversation. I've heard other people say they don't want them. It's kind of a mixed feelings. Some people are saying, that they've stopped in, but I personally haven't seen them. What I've seen is 99% of regular people like you and I and our communities coming together. And I'm on a 4-wheeler with a little wagon, and my buddy Quentin, who has his tractor here, and we have a grapple, and we're grabbing trees and putting septic tanks down the ground. We got the back of a house foundation from collapsing in and put blocks under it. And these people are so poor. They can't afford to, they gutted this house and they're going to try to live in it. It's covered in mold.
It's very, very, very concerning. Well, Dr. Kevin Mitchell, thank you for going down there and trying to do your part, and I really do appreciate it. People have said that you just can't describe it. Do you subscribe to that position? I mean, is it so overwhelming that it's just hard to describe, that the pictures really don't do it justice?
I've never seen anything like it, and it's we had a tornado and the flood in Nashville, but this is pretty bad here at the river bottom, I can tell you that. And tomorrow we're going to Cranberry, and I hear that's pretty bad as well. So we're just kind of hitting one community at a time and spending the weekend over here. But I've never seen anything like this. Like, I've never seen a house get pulled up and there's a 12 to 20-foot pit. I've never seen that.
Yeah. Well, listen, thank you so much for filling us in, and thank you for what you're doing down there. We greatly appreciate you checking in with us here on The Drive.
Well, I love to do it, and God bless you and that wonderful station.
All right. It is now 31 minutes past the hour, 3 o'clock, time for the news.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Right now in Nashville, a man is in critical condition. This is after shots were fired into a car near a park. Channel 4's Marissa Sulik says it happened shortly after noon today.
Metro Police say while the shooting started on Charlotte Pike, the victim and a family member drove here to Murphy Road and 40th Avenue North to get help. They say that the victim was in the back seat of this silver sedan when shots were fired. Metro Police say the shooting happened here on Charlotte Pike near 46th Avenue. This afternoon, we saw officers count about 9 shell casings scattered on the ground. Metro Police say the victim inside this silver sedan was shot several times. An employee at a nearby grocery store heard shouting, came outside, and saw the victim in the middle of the street.
Metro Police say the shooting appears to be targeted and a suspect is still at large. Cuba has no power. The entire island is in the midst of a massive blackout due to what officials say is the failure of one of its biggest power plants. In Havana, motorists were trying to navigate the city where no streetlights appeared to be working. Only a handful of police were directing traffic. Millions of people on this communist-run island have been left without power over the last several days as the aging Cuban electrical grid repeatedly collapsed, and now apparently it's in full-on failure. One person's recovering from an injury on board a Spirit Airlines flight today.
The Spirit Airlines flight from Chicago O'Hare to LAX hit turbulence while flying, injuring at least one person. The LA Fire Department says it was told it was 6 to 8 people before the plane landed, but once on the ground, nobody needed hospital attention. And the airport says it was just one injury treated at the gate. Southern California is getting rocked by strong Santa Ana wind. It's unclear if the Santa Anas played a role in creating the turbulence. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Yeah, the buildup going home is underway on the loop around downtown. Now, looking up toward Madison, we see we've got a disabled vehicle. This is going to be on State Route 155 westbound. You got the right lane of 3 lanes blocked. And then in Williamson County, looks like we've got an issue with a crash blocking the left lane. This is 65 southbound near I-840. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Say, are your retirement assets structured to minimize taxes? Hard to believe, but many hardworking Americans just like you could be overpaying on taxes in retirement. You can be taxed on your IRA, your 401k, and any other tax-deferred retirement accounts. Beacon Capital Management is here to give you peace of mind. With the threat of massive tax increases just around the corner, your nest egg could be in trouble unless you take advantage of defensive tax-saving strategies now. Defend your hard-earned retirement savings by scheduling a free retirement tax reduction analysis today. No cost, no pressure, no obligation. If you've saved more than $250,000 for retirement, don't wait any longer. Schedule your free retirement tax reduction analysis from Beacon. Just call this number, 615-488-9303, or visit askbeaconnow.com.
I do everything from scrubbing cages to asking people for donations to answering the phones and helping facilitate getting animals to the rehab. I'm there on the weekends, up there taking care of animals with the team.
You got a great team there. It's a small team, but a great team that works together. And
well, I started about 20 years ago. My dear friend Carol Burgess founded Harmony in Fairview.
Okay.
And we decided to reopen it in West Nashville. And we are rocking along. Lots of animals. One of the primary calls that we get are, I found a bird, it's on the ground, what do I do? And in most situations, you should let it alone unless there's an imminent danger to that animal, because the parents are helping it and feeding it, and it just needs a couple of scary days on the ground until it gets back up into flight. What about bunnies, Melody? Can we give advice about bunnies?
The bunnies, they're just the sweetest, most innocent creatures, and we just see the worst things happen to them. Cats, dogs, lawnmowers, weed whackers.
In most cases, if the animals aren't injured, if you can put the rabbits back, that's always better to be with the mother rabbit than to come to us.
All the storms that have been coming through and just destroying nests, and a lot of babies will be found on the ground. Re-nesting is possible and preferable.
You play the video calls and you put the baby near where they found it, and the mama will actually come down and pick it up and then bring it back.
Oh, nice.
Isn't that cool?
Nice.
It's 39 minutes now past the hour, 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. And given that this is Friday, October 18th, on Friday at 3:35, we do a little thing here we like to call Fone URFARB Friday. What are you thinking? What's on your mind? 615-737-9986. This is where you get a chance to climb up on our 100,000-watt soapbox and express yourself within boundaries, because it is a family show. I mean, maybe you have a bee in your bonnet. Maybe you have a burr in your saddle. Or maybe, stand by, Ken, maybe you have a bug in a place where, you really shouldn't have a bug. It never fails to amuse me. So, this is it. We want you to give us your best shot. We got a lot of lines open right now. Love to have you join us for Fone URFARB Friday, a chance where you get to, just get it off your chest. Maybe you want to take umbrage with something that you've heard me say. Maybe you have a question. Sometimes I have the answers. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But 615-737-9986. Get her done out there. Let's do it. If you can't just be a lurker. People just like to lurk and just listen. No, this is participatory radio. This is a medium that needs your involvement. 615-737-9986. Mr. Bill in Hendersonville. Hello, Mr. Bill. You're on with Brian on the drive. What's on your mind today, Mr. Bill?
Well, Brian, you've done a great job on educating all of us about the difference which Mama Kamala keeps talking about. Everybody needs equity instead of equality,
right?
Where everyone has the same outcome versus the same opportunity. But just lately, it's been reported that she wants to give a certain segment of our population over 1 million forgivable loans based on skin color and gender. So my question is, if you and I wanted to get one of those forgivable loans, do you think that we could suddenly start identifying as one of those members of our population?
Well, I'll tell you, she can make all the promises in the world that she wants to make. And I got to tell you, she can just promise and promise and promise. There's two things. Number one, as I reported to you yesterday, it was my initial impression, and now it's been sort of verified by some constitutional experts, that idea would be, inherently unconstitutional. To say we're going to give something free to one class of people and nobody else need apply just sort of goes against what we're all about here. But she's trying to buy votes. She's trying to buy votes, and she'll make any of these wild, crazy, promises that she can make. Number one, it's not constitutional. Number two, she's not going to get none of this stuff through the Republican-controlled Senate, and it looks very likely, if you were listening in the last segment, it looks very likely that it's going to be a Republican Senate. At the very least. Maybe we'll have a Republican House as well. So she, if she were to win, she has to, she can make any promise she wants to, but you can promise in one hand and then spit in the other and see which one gets full first. That's what I always like to say. That's probably gross. I don't know. I don't know why I say that. Danny in Lebanon, you're on with Brian on the drive. Hello, Danny. What's on your mind today?
Good afternoon, Brian. Hey, I was just listening to Dr. Mitchell, listen to how bad things are out there, and he's Tennessee and whatnot, and I know it's horrible, and and it is. It's just terrible. And then to turn around and think that Joe Biden didn't hesitate to send Ukraine another $4.5 billion or whatever it was. It's just appalling.
Yeah, look, there will be money made available to people, in time, but really. It seems to me that, when we send billions and billions of dollars overseas to Ukraine, we spend billions on, trying to help Israel. We've spent billions on trying to support Gaza. And now we're apparently trying to send a bunch of money to Lebanon as well. At a time when Americans are suffering and, FEMA shows up and says, here's a $750 check. By the way, they can't cash a check. Because there's no bank that has electricity. I mean, it's the craziest thing. Thank goodness for people who are out there, from charities and churches, going out there and doing the good work of trying to, help these people out, like Dr. Mitchell. But by the way, if you went to that concert and that money was raised there, went to doing the things that he's doing. This is what we need. We need more people doing that kind of stuff because I'm telling you, your government is not going to be able to do much for you in times of need. Long term, maybe they'll get some help, but they need help now, and long term. And it seems like the federal government, hey, here's $750. We'll get back to you in 6 weeks. Not good. Not good. Jerry in Columbia, you're up next on the drive. Jerry, what's on your mind today?
Well, I was just thinking recently about how much other countries owe the United States. Back in the 1970s, there was a man named Gordon Sinclair, who was a Canadian, that actually had a song. It was kind of an oratory song about what all the United States has done for the world around it. Everything going back to World War I, World War II, Vietnam, kind of like what we're doing today, helping other people out. When will other people help us? I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the fact that we are helping one another as Christians. But when have you last heard that another country came to the aid of the United States in a catastrophe like we've had?
I think there were some foreign countries who came to our assistance on 9/11. And help and providing search and rescue teams and that kind of stuff. But the fact of the matter is we have the ability to take care of ourselves, and we don't need a lot of help from other countries. But and so that it's like, well, now thanks, but we've got it. We can pretty much handle any crisis that comes along. But it is at least the gesture would be nice. We are, for better or for worse, we rush in to try to help people anytime there's a need, because we are immensely blessed in America and have so much, so many blessings of liberty that we can do that. It is sort of irritating that other countries, never offer, except in I think in some very rare exceptions of that. I appreciate the call. Terry in Nashville. Hello, Terry. What's on your mind today?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I'm trying to figure out they're going to pay off another round of student loan debts.
Yeah.
If the conservative Congress controls the checkbook and it's considered unconstitutional for him to do it, how are we writing the checks? Because if the roles were reversed, I guarantee you they wouldn't get it past Nancy, crazy Nancy or whatever, Pelosi.
Oh, no. Nancy Pelosi was actually on record saying that, you can't do this without coming to Congress. She even said that to Joe Biden, but apparently Joe Biden doesn't listen to Nancy, and they keep doing it, even though, courts have said, you really can't do this. And well, okay, well, we'll change our approach a little bit and see if we can get away with this. And we'll get away with this. Yesterday, a story, so far, the Biden administration has paid off $175 billion in student loans. And a lot of those people were entirely capable of paying off their student loans. I don't know. I don't have the answer. I mean, it seems like to me, once that money gets appropriated, they seem to be doing some things that I don't think are copacetic or, in fact, legal. But it just takes a while for the courts to work their way into looking at the matter. Somebody has to file a lawsuit. Then you got to you go it up from a federal court to an appeals court to maybe the Supreme Court before you get a ruling on it. And during that time, they've already given the money away, and you can't claw it back. It's really an act of defiance against the way we're supposed to operate with the rule of law. And I really wish that when this election is over, I hope that gets taken up, because you just can't do some of the things that they've been doing legally, it seems to me. John, out on the road. John, what's on your mind today?
You were taking questions the other day for Brett Baer, and I had one that I wasn't able to get through. I can't remember the last time a sitting vice president was placed as the president to be for a party, and my question would be, will you certify the election if Donald Trump wins?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question, because she'll sit in the chair in the House of Representatives. That's the Constitution calls for her to be there, and as the president of the Senate, as the House and Senate come together to certify the election on January 6th. And it's a good question. I haven't heard anybody ask it of her, but it's really interesting how the Democrats always accuse Donald Trump of trying to subvert democracy. And when you ask some of these people out there, are you going to certify the elections? Are you going to vote to certify? A lot of Democrats say, well, if it's done above board, that's a subjective answer, isn't it? Because who's to decide whether it's above board or not? What's What's copacetic with one person might not be copacetic with another. You're keeping your powder dry and suggesting that, well, under some circumstances, I might not. And I think it's outrageous. And by the way, a double standard. Russell in Wilson County. Hello, Russell. You're on with Brian on the drive.
Oh, thank you. Brian, are you there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Brian, I've got a question. You know, I went to vote yesterday in Watertown. I'm here in Wilson County in Watertown.
Right. Uh-huh.
And you go to the voter house, and there's no signs for Trump, no signs for Republicans, nothing but Kamala Harris and Waltz and Democrats. Then you go inside to vote, and you give them your voter ID and your ID, and they say, "Oh, we don't need voter ID anymore. We only use that if we have to. All we need is an ID now."
Yeah, I didn't have to show them my registration card, just my driver's license, and they checked it off when I voted on. I guess it was Tuesday. Here's what I would say about that. Wilson County Republicans, how come you're a little late to getting the signs up? What's going on with that? Wilson County votes. Let's get out there. Let's Republicans go out there and put some signs. I noticed it too. I did notice. I drove by there a little while ago today, and I noticed I don't see any Republican signs up. What's up with that? Well, somebody dropped the ball, that's for sure. 51 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock. You know, there are a lot of diagnoses out there and a pill for just about everything. But as you know, most diagnoses are, well, not all of them are accurate, and not all pills are good for you. When you get a diagnosis for European auto repair, you should get a second opinion before you make a major decision. And Eurofix is the home for second opinions. Before you spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars on European vehicle repair from the diagnosis you got someplace, why don't you go to Eurofix? At Eurofix, you'll get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection with an estimate at every visit, no high-pressure sales tactics. At Eurofix, you'll get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment. At Eurofix, you never pay dealer prices. Located in Franklin, 100 Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now their newest location, Mount Juliet. Just call this number, 844-EUROFIX, 844-EUROFIX, or visit myEurofix.com and tell them your friend and radio buddy Brian Wilson sent you.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Hey everybody, Dan Mandis with Super Talk 99.7 WTN and Nashville's Morning News. Right now, we are bringing results for our clients using both our radio and digital assets. 2025 is going to be a huge year, not only here in Tennessee, but of course, across America. If you want to jump on board, again, we're offering great incentives. Find us online, 997WTN.com, and let's talk.
Shell casings scattered about where someone fired into a car in West Nashville this afternoon. New details about last night's deadly DUI crash into a group of tourists downtown. These stories and more at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's 58 minutes now past the hour. Time to take a look at the markets. Dow Jones Industrials up 36 points today. Another record high, ending the day at 43,275. S&P was up 23. NASDAQ was up 115. Pretty good run here we've had of green screens. Let's find out what's going on. Check in with John Maxon over at Beacon Capital Management. Good afternoon, John.
Hey, good afternoon, Brian. Yeah, you're right. The market just continues to go up. Another record for the Dow and actually another record for the S&P. It's actually the longest weekly winning streak so far this year for the S&P. And, of course, we started out this week with earnings season. It was the first full week, and the week started out with the big banks with really good earnings. And then after the bell last night, Netflix really got today started with great earnings. Also had some great information. Single-family housing starts really ramped up this last month due to interest rates coming back down. Next week, we're going to have a lot of big companies with earnings. We'll see if the momentum continues. That'll include like Tesla and Hilton. And probably one of the biggest things next week is consumer sentiment. We're going to get an idea of how consumers are feeling as we head into this last part or this last quarter in the election.
All right. Thank you very much, John. Find out about all the things that John Maxon and the good people at Beacon Capital Management can do to help you get ready for your retirement. Just go to their website. AskBeaconNow.com. 59 past the hour. You know, probably the number one question I get from listeners is, how can I get in the conservative fight? Well, it's critical to know where your dollars are going. Most credit cards are funneling millions to left-leaning causes. But now you have a choice. Coin is America's conservative credit card. You earn cash back while fighting the liberal agenda. Apply now at coin.com. An unusual spelling on that. Let me give it to you. COIGN.com. COIGN.com. The G is silent. Terms apply. Go to coin.com/disclosures for full details.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now in Nashville, Channel 4 says police counted at least 9 shell casings where someone fired shots into a car driving on Charlotte Pike near 46th Avenue around lunchtime today. This employee at a nearby grocery store says he heard people shouting outside and went to help finding the victim.
He seemed to be unresponsive. I'm not sure, though. It did not look very good.
Police say that passenger in the back seat was hit multiple times. Police are looking for a suspect. A tourist from Wisconsin is dead after a car plowed into a crowd of people downtown last night. Several of his relatives are hospitalized. Channel 4's Dryden Quigley reports a witness narrowly missed getting hit.
It was just after midnight when Amanda Atkins was standing here getting ready to cross the street. A car came speeding down Commerce and jumped the curb, going onto the sidewalk.
That's where the Weinke family was waiting for their ride share. The car ran into Leroy Weinke, his wife, his sister-in-law, and his brother-in-law. Witnesses say Leroy went flying and hit his head on the sidewalk. He was taken to the hospital where he died. Amanda said she tried to help after the crash, but Leroy's injuries were too severe.
Tried to see, but once I seen the head injury and what his noggin looked like, I couldn't proceed. I've never experienced anything like this before, not to this magnitude.
Police say the driver is John Williams. It was his 25th birthday. He had 3 passengers in his car. None of them had severe injuries. When police got there, they say Williams was slurring his words. Then he could barely walk. He faces many charges, including vehicular homicide by intoxication and 3 counts of vehicular assault. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Well, this is not helpful on a Friday afternoon to try to get home. We've got some debris blocking the westbound center lane of 40 on the South Loop downtown. And then in Williamson County, looking south here, looks like we've got a crash reported 65 southbound, the left lane blocked right there at 840. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, good afternoon. Hour number 2 of the drive on this beautiful fall day, 69 degrees, this 18th day of October. So that means, I guess, what, it's 18 days left of the elections. Wow. It's getting closer and closer. And we'll give you some more political news here in just a bit. But we have a lot of other ground to cover here on the drive before we get out of here on this Friday. We'll start with this. You know, it's a woke world, don't you? Uh-oh.
Oh, I can't deal with this on a Friday.
Bum, 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 bum. Well, that's right. It's a woke. Oh, they're not done. They will not be dissuaded. You can't interrupt them.
They're like the Energizer Bunny, they are.
They just keep singing. Woke news. Let's see what we got here. You know what? This is pretty interesting. From FoxNews.com, a sort of a think piece from a guy named David Marcus. And I think this is the issue, quite frankly, that I'm really shocked. I'm guessing maybe they're holding on to this to the last bit, because they've really not pushed this issue as strongly as they could have against Kamala Harris. She's on records as saying she has no problems with the idea of transgendered men playing against women on the field of athletic play. Now, look, I understand that she has a constituency there that she's trying to appeal to, but that position would not sit well with another group of voters who are said to be very much in her camp, and that is white women voters, soccer moms. Soccer moms don't like this idea at all. And it seems to me, a lot of soccer moms, for them, maybe, the issue of abortion, which seems to be, what she's really trying to hit on hard, doesn't really resonate with them. But this would, in a negative way, for her campaign. And nobody seems to be holding her accountable for her past positions on this. For over a decade now, the issue of transgenderism has gained increasing prominence in American politics, which is natural when personal choices begin to intersect with public policy. And for Kamala Harris, it has risen above the surface at the worst possible time. There have been policy concerns around the idea that men can simply decide they are women. There were questions about women's shelters and prisons and locker rooms and bathrooms, but nothing puts quite a fine point on the issue as men competing in women's sports. For his part, Donald Trump has a clear and concise answer to the trouble phenomenon, telling a Fox News town hall this week, it's such an easy question. We're just not going to let it happen. And of course, he's right. Very few people can see pictures of a male swimmer towering over a female competition or watch men in volleyball matches slamming the ball into women's faces without instinctively seeing that it's wrong or unfair. But unfortunately for Kamala Harris and Democrats, neither she nor they can say that as it is glaringly obvious as it is. Wall Street Journal editorial board now calling this a sleeper issue. I think it is a sleeper issue. Why are they not pounding the table about this in the 2024 race for Harris, as well as Senate candidates such as Ohio's Sherrod Brown and Montana's John Tester, who have voted in the past to secure transgender rights? For her part, Vice President Harris has come under fire for her role as Attorney General of California in ensuring prisoners and illegal aliens had access to taxpayer-funded transition surgery. The implacable conundrum that Democrats face on this issue is that in order to come to the conclusion that men who identify as trans should not be competing against women, you have to acknowledge that they are not actually women. And according to the left, that makes one a horrible bigot. There's no way around it. Whether gender is a decision or a biological reality is a binary choice. And Democrats made their choice at a time when they thought there was a political advantage to painting Republicans who defend biological reality as intolerant. Why? Why won't they run with this? Why won't they hit it? With 3 weeks left until Election Day, Republicans up and down the ballot are inundating football games with ads showing the unfair and dangerous nature of men and women's sports, and more women are speaking up. I hope that in the days ahead, this becomes a bigger issue in the campaign and with the campaign advertising, because I'm telling you, if Kamala Harris is, as we are told, really winning over women's votes, a great number of women will have problem with that position. Just talk to any soccer mom you know, and they'll tell you how they would feel about seeing a biological male on the soccer field playing against their daughters. You know, it's happening. It's happening. It's happening. In other woke news, U.S. Army training materials labeled pro-life groups as terrorists, according to a lawsuit. Judicial Watch announced on Tuesday it filed a lawsuit against the United States Department of Defense for details of U.S. Army training materials that designate pro-life organizations or individuals as terrorists. The lawsuit was filed after the Department of the Army failed to respond to an August 13th, 2024 FOIA request for documents related to the designation of Natural Right to Life Committee and others as terrorists in training materials at Fort Liberty. In addition, Judicial Watch requested all emails of Army Secretary Christine Warmuth, Undersecretary Gabe Camarillo, Chief of Staff General Randy George, and/or Vice Chief of Staff General James Mingus regarding the designation of pro-life groups or individuals as terrorists. This stems back to a report from July where WRAL-TV reported that a photo circulating social media showed a slideshow at Fort Liberty calling pro-life groups terrorists. So there you go. They filed a lawsuit in the district court for the District of Columbia, forcing them to come forward and own up to the things that they are training our people in the military with. What a mess that is. Also in woke news, NASA spent millions on environmental justice and equity grants despite budget woes. This from the Daily Signal. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration has shelled out millions in awards to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as environmental justice, despite recently laying off staff and shuttering space programs due to budgetary shortfalls. NASA has allocated roughly $10 million to pay out dozens of grants and contracts aimed at advancing some element of environmental justice or DEI since 2020, federal spending records show. The agency is multiple billions of dollars short of funding required to complete its current missions. It has fired hundreds of people working on its Mars missions over budgetary concerns and may not have enough funding to maintain a multi-billion-dollar space telescope, according to multiple Washington Post reports. The environmental justice movement focuses on ensuring that communities receive equitable protection from natural and human-induced environmental hazards. And NASA's webpage on equity and environmental justice reads, it embodies the principles that all communities should be heard and represented in decision-making. You know who needs to be heard and represented in decision-makings at NASA? Scientists and engineers. Focus on the job. Get the job one done. And then, if you got some extra money left over after all that, you knock yourself out. I mean, I think it's silly. But one way or the other, again, I just have to always stop and say, I don't have a problem with the issue of equality. I don't have a problem with the issue of diversity. I don't have a problem with the issue of inclusion. Don't call me a bigot because I believe in all those things. What I don't believe in is this concept of equity, which says, we should have not an equal opportunity, but an equal outcome. I just don't believe that. I believe in merit. And I believe that, like the Secret Service has found, and like a lot of other agencies have found, they're not doing FEMA. Perfect example. I think FEMA is not as effective as it once was because they have populated the people that work at FEMA. They've not chosen the people who are best equipped to do the job. They've made sure that, we have every possible demographic covered. And when we hire people, we're hiring people basically based not on their experience, but on their beliefs, their personal beliefs or their personal choices in life. And I don't think that's right. Get the best qualified people. Red, yellow, brown, purple, green, or orange. I don't care. Get the best people. And then, give everybody an equal opportunity to apply, but take the best people, and you'll have organizations that work better. NASA doesn't need this. I mean, look, we've seen what happened with the Secret Service. We've seen what happened with FEMA. You know, what's going to happen at NASA for them to wake up and stop this nonsense? You know, a disaster of some kind during a launch? Thank goodness we're privatizing much of our space right now. Thank goodness we have Elon Musk and SpaceX. Which is running circles around anything NASA ever did and running circles around anything that longtime contractors like Boeing ever did. Nuts. There's this also I want to pass on. A three-judge panel yesterday ruled that Tennessee doctors who provide emergency abortions to protect the life of the mother cannot have their medical license revoked or face disciplinary actions while a lawsuit challenging the state's sweeping abortion ban continues. The ruling also outlines specific pregnancy-related conditions that would now qualify as medical necessity exceptions under the ban, which currently does not include exceptions for fetal anomalies or for victims of rape or incest. So a three-judge panel has said while this is being looked at, these are the standards by which we will apply our abortion ban in the state of Tennessee. And we'll continue to watch that and see exactly how it plays out. 20 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock on Super Talk. Hey, have you heard about the item that Costco keeps running out of? We're talking about gold bars. They just can't keep them in stock. Gold's breathtaking surge this year to repeated record highs hasn't stopped bullion from flying off the shelves. Gold is not only one of the best performing commodities, but also it's outperforming other assets like stocks and bonds. The surge has been driven by its appeal as a safe haven asset in times of geopolitical and economic uncertainty. And you know where you can get gold when Costco can't provide any? Well, why don't you just go to my friends at Nashville Gold and Coin? They sell the same high-quality products as Costco and other national online retailers. They will not overcharge you, and as a bonus, guess what? You'll be supporting a locally owned business. Kyle and Hannah are true experts, and you can count on top-of-the-line personalized customer service. Nashville Gold and Coin is the best place to buy gold in Middle Tennessee. You'll be dealing with experts instead of some random store clerk with zero knowledge about precious metals. So make an appointment today with Nashville Gold and Coin. Just go to NashvilleGoldandCoin.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Guns in backpacks at a Nashville school. Details at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver there in the newsroom wearing his OU cap.
Boomer!
Boomer Sooners. Football! Football! I love the way you do that.
You can't quite get it, can you?
I can't. No, I can't do it. And there is Chris Webber wearing his Georgia Bulldogs.
Go Dogs!
And I find myself hatless today, which is unusual. I usually come in here with a hat.
Yeah, you usually got your freedom hat on,
My
man.
freedom hat, because freedom.
Yes.
Well,
sir.
just freedom.
Yeah.
What else needs to be said?
Yeah. Oh, your hair is nicely coiffed, though, so that's a good thing.
It is.
Ah, thank you. It's increasingly getting gray, isn't it? Oh my gosh. I'm ready to sit down and watch some football, but I don't think I'm going to get to. We got all kinds of social activities going on this weekend at our house.
Ooh, there's a couple of good ones.
Well, yeah, I know there's some good ones. I'm going to try to squeeze in some football, but Cabana Wife sets the schedule, and I just go where I'm pointed.
Yes, dear.
I always get the last words in every conversation, and those last words are generally "yes, dear."
Yeah.
No. We go to two big fancy dance balls every year. And one of them is called, the Heritage Ball, and that's to raise money for the Heritage Foundation of Williamson County, and we have friends who are very active in that organization, and they use that money that they raise every year to protect, some of the old structures and, like the theater downtown Franklin.
Yeah.
That's a great theater. Well, they're responsible for that kind of stuff, and we go to that one every year. And then shortly after that, there's a second ball called the Mel's Ball, which is it's the horsey people. The horsey bunch.
That means it's the people that are into the horses. They're not
into the horses, yeah. And the horsey people throw that, and it's always a lot of fun. So we're going to that this weekend. It's quite a big deal. So but I put on my tuxedo.
Yeah.
And and put on the tie and.
Oh, I thought you'd be wearing those white riding pants with the red coat with the long tails. And the black hat.
Now, some of those folks do show up in
really?
that kind of. Yeah, they do. They absolutely do. And it's fun to watch. I love going to these things just for the people watching, if nothing else.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's our big weekend, and then I think I'm going to go out to Jack Johnson's barbecue this weekend.
Ooh, that's some good eating out there.
Yeah. We're going to try to do that as well. So
you can wear your boots and jeans and enjoy some barbecue and beans.
Well, I might just have to do that. I might have to put on some boots.
Yes, sir.
All right. So I'll try to squeeze in some football in there somewhere.
All right.
I love this story, and I think it's important to read this story because a message has been sent by our military indirectly to Iran. Remember, Iran supports the Hamas, they support the Hezbollah, they support the Houthis, the three H's in the Middle East, and they're their proxies, and they do all their dirty work for them. And the United States has just taken an attack against the Houthis and said, we're going to annihilate your bunkers. And here's what they did: they sent the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber. Now, what you need to know about it is, it flies over football games more than it is actually used in combat. We don't use it very much in combat. It's an amazing stealth bomber. It can penetrate radar systems and without being noticed, and it carries the MOP, the massive. What did I say? I want to get the right word here. Massive ordnance. Hang on, I got it right here. The MOP is massive ordnance penetrator. It is the GBU 57. It can carry two of it, and these are the massive bunker busters. So the Houthis had buried their sensitive weaponry underground, thinking that no matter what happens, it'll be safe underground. Well, along comes the B-2 and drops a mop or two, apparently, and just penetrates the bunker and destroys the Houthis' weaponry that was deep underground. Now, why is that interesting? Well, it's interesting because it's like the first operational strike mission for Spirit in years, the first time it's been used in Yemen, and it sends a very specific and powerful message that the B-2 can, for the message to the receivers, that it can get in at your weapons no matter how deep you bury them. Pentagon put out a statement. Let me read you part of it, then I want to make a comment here. Today, U.S. military forces, including U.S. Air Force B-2 bombers, conducted precision strikes against 5 hardened underground weapons storage locations and Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen. U.S. forces targeted several of the Houthis' underground facilities housing various weapon components of types that the Houthis have used to target civilian and military vessels throughout the region. It was a unique demonstration of the United States' ability to target facilities that our adversaries seek to keep out of reach, no matter how deeply buried underground, hardened, or fortified. The employment of the U.S. Air Force B-2 Spirit long-range stealth bombers demonstrate U.S. global strike capabilities to take action against these targets where necessary, anytime, or anywhere. Now, that's a very interesting statement from the United States Air Force. And, you know, the Houthis have found out what these MOP ordinances can do. And by the way, they weigh about 30,000 pounds apiece. And B-2 can carry 2 of them.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I remember being, you know, in the Florida Panhandle, they test these things at a bombing range not far from where I had a little beach house. And when they would drop one of the bunker busters as a test, believe me, everybody for 30, 40, 50 miles felt it. It's just a thud. Just an unbelievable thud that even though it's, 50, 60 miles away, you still feel it. You still hear it. It's amazing. Well, anyway, why is this interesting? Because you know what? It's a message to the Iranians that we have a weapon system that can take out your nuclear program anytime we choose. Be aware, we have the B-2 and we have the MOP, and nothing that you have is safe from that. And that's what this message is being. The bombs were sent to the Houthis. The message was sent to Iran. 31 past the hour.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Nashville, 3 students are facing charges for taking guns to school today at East High School. A random search turned up guns in the backpacks of 2 11th graders. During that search, they tried to toss the backpacks. Well, that drew attention, and the guns were found among other items. Then a third gun was found in a senior's car. All 3 teens charged with juvenile gun possession and other charges there at East High School. Election 2024. Today's the second day of early voting in Tennessee. More than 30,000 people have cast their ballots in Davidson County so far, but some voters say voting machines were selecting a different candidate than the one they wanted. Well, Elections Administrator Jeff Roberts explains to Channel 4.
We no longer had sent out the stir sticks that we'd used for the past 3 years. And that because of that, people were having difficulty getting their finger just in the right spot. It's kind of like on your cell phone. You can, if you're texting, it's very easy to pick the wrong letter.
So the stir sticks are back at every early voting poll and will be on Election Day, too. Roberts says they were trying not to use the stir sticks this time around due to environmental concerns. Money News, Chuck Severson.
Not only Friday gains, but the major indexes have had a 6th straight winning week on strong corporate earnings reports. That's the longest period of weekly advances this year for the Dow and S&P 500. The Dow closed 37 points higher at a new record. The S&P 500 added 23, also for a new record high. And the Nasdaq gained 116 points.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Still have debris blocking the center lane of 40 westbound. This is going to be on the South Loop at downtown. And we've got some problems on I-840 in Williamson County. You got the southbound 65 left lane to get on 840 blocked. And then now at 840 Murfreesboro, we had a crash. This one was reported just to the east of I-24. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, did you know you're funding America's future and it's not the future you want for you or your kids? Most major credit cards funnel millions to liberal causes and candidates hoping that you don't notice. Well, take a stand and get woke out of your wallet. Coin is the conservative credit card. You earn cash back while advancing a conservative future. Apply now at coin.com. Now, I want to spell coin for you. It's an unusual spelling, COIGN.com. The G is silent in the pronunciation, but it's definitely there, COIGN.com. Terms apply. I've got one in my wallet, so why don't you get one in yours? Go to coin.com/disclosures for full details.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Matt Murphy with Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 2024 is coming to a close, and what a great year it was. We are looking forward to an exciting 2025, and we want you to be a part of it. If you're looking for marketing or digital strategy for your business, we want to be on your team. It is a wonderful three-legged stool. You, me, and the listener, and we want to be a part of your family. So join us at 997WTN.com/epic to find out more, and we'll see you at 2025.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
39 past the hour, 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. It is Friday, and you know what happens on, well, we like to call it Friday. That's right. It's time now for round number 2 of Phone URFARB Friday. I just can't begin to describe what fun it is to watch Ken Weaver dancing in the newsroom. It's time for Phone URFARB Friday, 615-737-9986. Listen, maybe you got a bee in your bonnet. Maybe you got a burr in your saddle. Maybe you've got, I don't know, a bug in a very uncomfortable place. And so just get on our 100,000-watt soapbox and express yourself. I mean, within boundaries, because it is a family show. And, you know, we don't want to have to use the little red button on you. So be careful. We like it when you're clear, concise, coherent. If you have the ability to be comedic, that's fine. But don't stretch it. If you're not sure you have it, you don't have it. But otherwise, we want you to get in there and just, have your way with our 30,000 or 100,000 watt soapbox right here on Super Talk 99.7. 30,000 wouldn't even begin to get it done. It's a boomer of a signal. You have no idea how powerful this signal is.
Yeah.
This signal, it goes all the way down into, northern Alabama. It goes all the way up into southern Kentucky. It goes to, all of Middle Tennessee, left and right. So 615-737-9986. Listen, we've got open lines, and it's one of those things. We expect you to participate. You can't just lurk. Maybe we love first-time callers. Take a chance. Take a chance on us. I think you'll enjoy. Now, there they are. Boom. Finally. It's funny how these phone calls come in. Let's go with Kelly in McMinnville. Kelly, you're on with Brian on the Drive. What's up, Kelly?
Yeah. Hey, I love your show. I just
Thank you.
had a quick question about a rumor that I had heard from a county official here in my little town. He was telling me that the governors of blue states could decide to not approve the election results from his state if Trump were to be elected and won in those said states. They could decide to not approve those and hold up his election results.
Well, I think that what you're going to find is that this has been adjudicated on the appellate court level. And I think it would eventually, in very short order, be elevated to a Supreme Court decision on that matter. I do believe that, and they would simply say you cannot. You're supposed to, it's like the vice president, is supposed to approve on January 6th and certify the elections, and it really. As I understand it, and this got very controversial on January 6th, but the vice president's role in that is basically just a rubber stamp. You're just the person who rubber stamps the thing, and I think it would probably come down to governors like that as well. Look, I don't want to go begging for trouble. I don't like expecting the worst out of a thing. We'll have to deal with what comes as it comes. I think it's entirely possible that that there's going to be several days before this thing is settled. I don't think we're going to know election night. I mean, I hear the Trump people say very confidently they think it will be decided election night. I'm not sure. I don't get that sense. I think the lawyers. You wouldn't believe the number of lawyers the Democrats are putting out. You wouldn't believe, quite frankly, the number of lawyers that the Republicans are putting out in all of these major battleground states. And the battle, I don't think, will be over on Election Day. But let's deal with it as it comes. It would be highly unusual for a governor to intervene in a situation like that. But each situation, every state handles their elections slightly differently because the states handle the elections. All right. And so I don't know what to tell you. There's going to be a lot of rumors. And what I would say is let's not focus on the rumors. Let's focus on what evolves, what actually is. on Election Day and deal with it as it comes. That's the only thing I can recommend. Mark is up calling in from Murfreesboro. What's on your mind, Mark?
Yeah, I'm confused. She says she knows the difference between her and Joe Biden and Trump, but how does she know that when she doesn't even know if she's a woman or not?
Well, I've never heard her say that she's anything but a woman, so I'm not sure what your point is there.
Well, we asked her to describe a woman, they can't do it.
Well, some Democrats have had difficulty. I don't think she's been asked that question directly, at least as far as I know she hasn't. Look, it's, she's got a problem, and her big problem is not gender. Her big problem is she's wedded and welded to Joe Biden. She was a part of an administration that failed for 3.5 going on 4 years now. And she can talk about all the things she wants to do, but she has to also acknowledge that she's been part of a very bad run in the history of this country. Linda in Mount Juliet, hello. You're on with Brian on the Drive. What's on your mind, Linda?
Yes, I just wanted to tell you that I'm so angry that anyone would vote for Kamala when she refuses to speak to the people. She refuses to speak to reporters. She has done some interviews with people like The View and The Night Show, but she will not talk to reporters, and she never answers a question. And it's just appalling to me that an American would vote for someone who we don't even know what she represents or stands for.
Well, some of the things we know that she stands for, she says, she stands for things that are very different from what have been her past positions. I mean, she said, well, I'm very much in favor of securing the border. Well, they didn't do it. Yeah, exactly. she got about a half a dozen of those kinds of things where she has held previous positions that are at variance with the position she's holding now. I think. Listen, the thing I will say is I think the American people get that. I think they see it and they get it and they understand that she is flip-flopping just to get elected, and then she's winking in a way at Democrats and saying, but my values haven't changed. Wink, wink, nod, nod. It means that nothing has really changed. She's just saying what she has to say to get elected, and they know that, and they don't care. They don't seem to care. I don't know, but I think American people are smart enough to see that she's dodging and she's not answering questions. That's for sure. The one thing that came out of that Bret Baier interview was that she's just simply not going to answer certain questions. How about Mark in Lynchburg? Oh, Mark went away. Greg out on the road. Hello, Greg. You're on with Brian on the Drive. What do you say, Greg?
Hey, Brian, first-time caller. I haven't. First time I ever called you again. I've been out of town, haven't heard you talk about this, but I wanted to bring it up for the folks. I work with a bunch of DOD folks, and they brought something to my attention about a new document they passed, and I think it was September 25th, about authorizing lethal force along with local governments to suppress, crowds and those type things. And I don't want to blindside you with it. I'd like to give you the document number. That way you can look at it yourself.
All right. I'll tell you what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to hold on the line, and I'm going to ask Chris to take down that information for me, and then I'll take a look at it. Here's what I want to say, Greg. I don't know. I'll look at it, I promise you, with an open mind and tell you what I think. But I'm really worried at some of the real bad rumors that are floating around right now. In this time and in this environment with AI and everything, that's going on with these sophisticated fakes that can end up online, you don't know what's real and you don't know what's not real. But I'll send. Hang on. And I'll get Chris to take down that information. I appreciate it. Scott in Nashville. Hello, Scott. You're on with Brian on the Drive.
Hey, Brian. So I've got an interesting story. Are you familiar with Todd Bensman, Center for Immigration Studies?
I've heard of it, yes.
Yes. So he's a very qualified person. He's on War Room with Bannon a lot and other various places. So he's got a story that apparently an insider with the administration slipped him, and he went down to check it himself. Southern Mexico, they built a little Gaza Strip, and they've been hoarding 400,000 illegals down there who the Mexican, according to him, Kamala made a little deal with Mexico so that she could say, oh, look, the border flow is stopped. There's 400,000 waiting at the bottom of Mexico, and on November 6th, they're going to be let loose.
Well, I think, to be honest with you, I'm surprised they're not charging to the border now, if that were the case, because they wouldn't want to squeeze in while we still have a Biden administration. But you know what? The numbers really haven't gone down. They're just not. They're not coming across the border. They're coming in on airplanes. And it's hard to spot them because they're in with everybody who's flying into the country, flying out, and they're coming in on aircraft directly to cities in this country, and it's just that you don't see them like you once saw them coming across the border. I think that look, I also think the coyotes are pretty smart. The cartels are pretty smart. And I think that, they are trying to do what they can to keep the numbers low during the election season, knowing that if they can do that, then they will be helping the Democrats. And then as soon as the election is over, they'll go right back to doing what they were doing before. I'm telling you, the immigration thing is going to be the thing that decides this election. I'm pretty sure of that. Well, we run out of time. And I'm sorry we didn't get to more calls. I think, Chris, what I'm saying, we always like to compare the early round with the second round.
Yeah.
I'm leaning toward the first round.
I was going to say that as well. I think they were a little more ready, even though nothing against round two. Round two is solid as well, but I think a slight edge to round one.
All right, sounds good. I think just a slight edge.
Yeah,
but
sure.
The second the 4 o'clock people, keep working on it.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes
you'll
you
get
guys
there.
win. You win concisely. It's 51 past the hour. Let me tell you about the folks over at United Structure Systems. I have all these talking points that I go through, but I just want to share with you my personal experience because they've been out to my house recently doing work underneath my house. I had some water that was getting underneath my house, and that's not good. You want to see your house deteriorate. It starts deteriorating in places you can't even see when there's water under your crawl space or in your basement. And so they came out and got it in really, really good shape. And now it's just as dry as a bone down there. And then I had a couple of I had the classic thing, with the stair-step cracks and the bricks. One little corner of my house. They came and worked on that, and I got to tell you, it looks like it's brand new. You can't even tell where they had made that repair. That's why there have been over 25,000 satisfied residential customers. They've been around since 1994, so that's 30 years plus now that they've been around. So if you need foundation repair or waterproofing issues, maybe you've got concrete that's sloping, sinking, and you want to get it nice, plumb, and level again, they have a polylift system for that. They say don't replace it, raise it. Here's the number, 615-488-7855. Learn more by going to their website, ussTN.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
5 o'clock on the dot this Friday afternoon. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now in Nashville, reports say one car pulled alongside another. Someone started firing shots. Happened just after noon today along Charlotte Pike near 46th Avenue. Channel 4 talked to a grocery store employee who ran outside to help when he heard someone shouting. He says the victim was in the middle of the street, not doing good.
We've had some crazy things happen here at this store, but nothing really quite like this. So it's kind of hard to even put into words.
Police are looking for a suspect. The Metro Health Department says it's changing some things up to respond to the rash of gun violence lately. It's adding more public safety workers using local and federal money for a three-arm approach. One team for community safety, a second for case management, and a third, a counseling team that will focus on people impacted by gun violence.
The presence of mental health clinicians at more public health department sites and increased collaboration with community partners means fewer barriers to care.
The health department will also distribute 10,000 gun locks for free at every area health clinic. Channel 4's Dryden Quigley has new details of that drunk driver plowing into a group of tourists downtown last night.
It was just after midnight when Amanda Atkins was standing here getting ready to cross the street. A car came speeding down Commerce and jumped the curb, going onto the sidewalk.
That's where the Weinke family was waiting for their ride share. The car ran into Leroy Weinke, his wife, his sister-in-law, and his brother-in-law. Witnesses say Leroy went flying and hit his head on the sidewalk. He was taken to the hospital where he died. Amanda said she tried to help after the crash, but Leroy's injuries were too severe.
I do not think the man survived. It was his wife that was up the street a bit. Never expect this on a Thursday night in Nashville.
Police say the driver is John Williams. It was his 25th birthday. He had 3 passengers in his car. None of them had severe injuries. When police got there, they say Williams was slurring his words, could barely walk. He faces many charges, including vehicular homicide by intoxication and 3 counts of vehicular assault. Election 2024, both former President Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris campaigning in Michigan today.
In Hamtramck, Michigan, the former president was praised by the city's mayor, a Yemeni immigrant and a Democrat.
The Democrats keep sending to our communities to scare them.
Mayor Amr Ghalib has endorsed Trump, and he asked the former president to address fears that if he's elected, he'll deport Muslims.
They have so many things that they've said about me, and nothing sticks. Is this the new one?
Trump went on to call the Muslims of Hamtramck great people and great workers. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, TDOT is still showing debris blocking the westbound center lane of the South Loop downtown. And then moving up here to Madison, looks like both north and southbound Gallatin Pike is bumper to bumper between Old Hickory Boulevard and Briley Parkway. TDOT also still showing a crash in Rutherford County with the right shoulder blocked, 840 eastbound between New Nashville Highway and Sulphur Springs Road. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Hour number 3 of the drive now beginning, 7 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock. It is still a very pleasant, we got 68 degrees. Fall weather, does it get any better than this? 68.
Oh, it's pretty good.
Abundant sunshine, a little nip in the morning, a little chill in the evening, but the days are just spectacular, aren't they?
Yeah, but unfortunately, we're going to warm up too much, I think, over the next few days.
Is that right? I haven't looked at the long-term forecast.
Back in the 80s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay too. If it gets, is that what you? I don't know. Indigenous Peoples Summer.
I don't know if that's what you call it or not.
Yeah, I want to be politically correct here.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to have people protesting outside my house here in Watertown. Let's do 2024 round 2. We got all kinds of stuff to talk about. To tell you, trying to stay up with the election information it's overwhelming. Here's the thing I want to just sort of share with you. I'll give you some highlights from the turnout in the state of Tennessee thus far. About 386,000 people have already voted in the state of Tennessee in the first 2 days of early voting. We're in day number 3 now, and we have you can vote early all the way up until the 30th day of October, the day before Halloween. So that's a pretty good turnout. Davidson County, about 37,000 people have voted. And Rutherford County, 22,000. Williamson County, 20,000. Wilson County, 11,000 and change. In Sumner County, 9,000 and change. So it's happening out there. A lot of people are taking advantage of early voting. But the total number, 386,000. And that's either in person or have returned their ballots already, their mail-in ballots. Right now, about 44,000 people have voted in with mail-in ballots. So there we go. It's a lot of good stuff there. And I'm glad to see people taking advantage of early voting. We need to do that. If you haven't, get out there and do that. You need to do it before, it runs out, because you know what? As much as we like to say, well, I'll vote on election day, it gets hard sometimes. Things happen. Life intervenes. And so I'm all in favor of making sure that we vote early. And that is the official position of the Trump campaign, by the way. We got some numbers here, Real Clear Politics general election numbers. Harris leads in the general election numbers on average. That's averaging out a bunch of different polls. She leads by just a squeak, 1.6 points. But I want to point out something about that number. She is woefully behind Joe Biden. at 2020 election at this point in the campaign back in 2020. She's got about 1.6 points ahead of Trump, but in 2020, Biden led Trump at this point by 8.9 and barely squeaked out a win. I mean, it was close. Trump now leads in all of the Real Clear Politics battleground average states, all 7 of them, not by much. And anytime we talk about numbers, I'm going to have to add this. Remember, although I do see a trend, and the trend is undeniable, moving toward Trump and away from Harris, all of these numbers are within the margin of error. It's going to be a squeaker of an election. And you know, just, I think, prepare yourself for a rough few days starting on November 5th. I don't think we're going to have the results of who won the presidency on election day or election night or the day after, or maybe even the day after that. I think it's going to take several days for this to become clear, and maybe longer. We could be headed in for a hanging Chad kind of situation. Remember that? Oh, Lord, I do. I'm feeling increasingly good about the Senate. In Ohio, the Republican Moreno is according to one poll, leading over no, he's not the incumbent. Moreno is not the incumbent. He's leading over the incumbent by a point. Moreno, wouldn't that be something to take one away from Sherrod Brown in Ohio? Ohio is a pretty reliably Republican state these days, and I would like to see that. I would like to see that one happen. Kerry Lake is not going to, it look like, pull it out in Arizona. Montana, Sheehy, the Republican, now leads John Tester, the incumbent, by 8 points, according to one poll. In Wisconsin, this would be a huge coup. Tammy Baldwin, the incumbent Democrat, leads her Republican opponent by only 1 point. Only 1 point in Wisconsin. So I don't know what's going on there in Wisconsin, but, that'll be interesting to see. So what I'm feeling is, okay, West Virginia, it's a slam dunk. Republicans will take that one away from the Democrats. Ohio, Sherrod Brown may go down hard. That would be great. Montana, pretty clear at this point. In Montana, the Republican leading incumbent, John Tester, by 8 points. So we're probably going to pick up Montana. And wouldn't it be something if we picked up Wisconsin? I'm feeling pretty good about the Senate. Who knows? I mean, but some of these numbers are way outside the margin of error. And it feels like maybe something's happening there. The Senate will be red. The House, I'm not so sure about. It's really tight over there. And I think it really depends on how long President Trump's coattails are. If he's doing much better than the polls suggest, and it's going to be a runaway election for Republicans, and that could happen. It could happen. Then I think that we probably will pick up the House just because the coattails will be so long. I'm very pleased, by the way, on the Senate, real quick. Pleased to see this latest poll from the University of Texas polling operation. Ted Cruz up over Allred by 7 points. Ted Cruz has been very worried this election cycle. Every time we get into a senatorial race or a statewide race, everybody says, well, this is the year that the blues take over the state of Texas. And, look, you got major metropolitan areas, very blue in the state of Texas, very blue. And places like Austin and Dallas and Houston and San Antonio, but the rest of the state is so solidly red, and you got a whole bunch of red areas out in, let's say, the Panhandle of Texas, Amarillo, Lubbock, Odessa, Midland, Abilene, Wichita Falls. There are all kinds of little towns like that are very ruby red, and even though Democrats keep saying we're going to take it, they never quite do it when the numbers are called. So I'm glad to see Ted Cruz up by 7. It would be a shame to lose Ted Cruz out of the Senate and to lose that seat to Democrats. Okay, other stuff. Breitbart has an interesting story. Closing message from Kamala Harris. She dumps joy for anger, bitter, and nasty. Well, she has been. I mean, did you see her sort of start snarling toward the end of her interview with Brett Baer? I mean, she was really, she was wagging her finger in the whole 9 yards, and it was really, calling him unstable and that kind of stuff. I think, it used to be, when she started out, it was all about, the joy of it all. Oh, isn't it great to see somebody out there campaigning in a joyful way? That's what the Democrats were saying. Well, the joy is gone, and because now they're worried that this thing is slipping away from them, and they have turned to a very ugly attack against Donald Trump in the last few days. Not to be, I guess it's not unexpected, but I mean, she's really coming after him. We got Tim Walz actually coming after him hard. I don't know, at this point, there's such a small sliver of people who have not made up their minds. Most everybody, I mean, I think people know pretty much how they're going to vote. There's not many people. You ask anybody, and just random people, hey, if you just don't get into who they're going to vote for, just have you made up your mind? And people have pretty largely made up their mind. There's a small sliver of people at this point who haven't, and I guess they're trying to do whatever they have to do. I think they're fear-mongering, quite frankly, something they accuse Republicans of all the time. But I think they are fear-mongering and laying down a lot of pretty harsh language that almost makes it sound as if they are prepping people to take action on their side of the equation if it doesn't go quite the way they hope it goes. Bill Mayer has asked a question, and it's a great question, and I want to know the answer to it, and I don't know why this is. Why is it that people are not looking at this story about Doug Emhoff, the husband of Kamala Harris? Real-time host Bill Mayer questioned whether it was wise for the liberal media to continue avoiding the growing controversy surrounding second gentleman Doug Emhoff. There's a lot of scuttlebutt in the news this week about Doug, he said. Overtime in Friday's Overtime online section of his HBO show. I don't know what's going on. The Daily Mail is reporting that 3 women, Emhoff's ex-girlfriend, talked to contemporaneously, which has been the standard very often in these cases, that she said back in, I think, 2011 or something, they were at the Cannes Film Festival and he slapped her. He thought she was flirting with the valet. He knocked up the nanny, right? That's confirmed, said Buck Sexton. That's confirmed. He definitely knocked up the nanny, Mayer responded with a chuckle. Well, I mean, why is it being ignored? I mean, would it if this was on the Trump side of the equation, they'd be pounding the table, the mainstream media would be. But if it's the husband of a person who wants to be president of the United States, it's not fair game to look into this. I thought we were supposed to believe these kinds of allegations. But no, there is, again, the mainstream media, if it weren't for double standards, would have no standards at all. Black voters in Georgia are expressing buyer's remorse with Biden and Harris. This is from the Free Beacon. Black men in battleground Georgia, many of whom voted for President Joe Biden in 2020, are now turning to Republican nominee Donald Trump, expressing buyer's remorse over the Biden-Harris administration, Politico has reported. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of Trump, but I'll definitely take Trump over Harris, said Arthur Buford, a black 28-year-old whose family is Democrat all the way. Buford said Harris wasn't qualified to be president, as she just seems to have been given everything in her career. Other black Georgians, historically Democrat voting bloc in the crucial swing state, echoes Buford's concerns, largely attributing their newfound support for Trump to the sky-high cost of living under the Biden-Harris administration. Trump's a man of his word. What he says he's going to do, he does, says Joseph Parker, a 72-year-old black man who has never before cast a ballot for a Republican presidential candidate. And everything is so high now. Groceries high. Clothes, everything, gas. And 4 years ago, it wasn't that high. And so people see the difference in Kamala Harris and Trump, and they want some of what they had 4 years ago, and I do too. That's pretty amazing. A 72-year-old black man who's never voted for a Republican presidential candidate in his lifetime now is going to be voting for Donald Trump. Samuel Kim, 25-year-old, voted for Biden in 2020, said he had to move back home after college because of the high cost of living under the Biden-Harris administration. I wouldn't say he's perfect or anything. He will get the job done. He's very talented in, diplomatic relations with other countries and mutual respect. Jason Shepard, a Republican leader in the Peach State, called black men's shift to the right good old-fashioned buyer's remorse. I think that's probably true. Then there's this, just quickly, doesn't take long to tell this story. According to a new Gallup poll, the gold standard of polling, most Americans say they are worse off than they were 4 years ago. Gallup reports today that 52% of adults responding to a recent survey said they and their families were in poorer shape financially than before President Biden took office. That's the environment in which this election is taking place. 21 past the hour now, 5 o'clock. Hey, let me tell you, you might want to think about going over to DT McCall's and get yourself one of those gun safes. I mean, the gun safes at DT McCall, honestly, what else do you need? I mean, it's that time of year where, you want to go out and do some hunting, but when you're not in the tree stand, you want your guns to be safe at DT McCall by getting a Liberty Safe. They're the biggest Liberty Safe dealer in the entire state of Tennessee, and a lot of it has to do with exactly why their policy with regard to delivery and setup. Now, some of the other companies charge you $500 for delivery of the big safes and $300 for the smaller safes. DT McCall never charges you for delivery or setup. Never, not a bit. And so when you get that, you're not going to have to worry about the extra expense of having it delivered and set up. They'll do it in a good, comprehensive way. And listen, you may think about guns for a gun safe, but it's a safe, really. You can use it for so many other things. Maybe you got important documents or titles, mama's jewelry, whatever you want to put in that safe. It's basically a safe. It's just designed to hold guns. And you can put anything else in there that your heart desires. So listen, why don't you check out, and there's no tax on gun safes. Find out, what kind of safe you can get by going by and seeing what they have in stock there at DT McCall's. 5 convenient locations. Just go to dtmccalls.com for more on that.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
It doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
a bullet-riddled car in broad daylight, 3 guns and backpacks at a Nashville high school, and officials say voters, not the machines, are the reason for some issues during early voting in Davidson County. Got all this and more at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom, and Chris Weber is in the control room, and I am Brian Wilson, your friend and radio buddy. Together, we'll make up the Three Amigos here in a bit, and you never know what's going to happen when the Three Amigos get together.
Especially on a Friday.
On a Friday, anything goes. Anything can happen.
Anything?
Anything. So anyway, Donald Trump, apparently, I love this story. This weekend, Donald Trump, no kidding, is going to go to a McDonald's somewhere, and he's going to make fries.
Yeah.
He's going to get behind the counter, put on the apron. There's a real question. Apparently, Steve Ducey over at Fox is obsessed with knowing whether or not he's going to put on the little paper hat.
They don't wear paper hats anymore, do they?
I don't know if they do or not. I never look too closely at what happens behind the scenes at a McDonald's. I don't want to know.
A hairnet. Now, that'd be something.
Yeah, wouldn't that be? Well, yeah. He might need to do that.
Yeah, he's got quite a little pompadour up there.
I don't know. I always worry about when they do these kind of things. Remember what happened to Dukakis? He put on a helmet in a tank.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? And then he just looked goofy. And he had his Snoopy ears on. It was the silliest photo op ever. So, I always worry about, you go, well, Mr. President, you'll have to put on a hairnet. And that's all anybody will talk about.
Oh, yeah. I would just embrace it, though, if I were him, It's all good fun.
Well, I mean, quite frankly, I think it's a dangerous job.
Yes.
I mean, it is a dangerous.
You're around hot grease.
You got grease, and you throw in those frozen fries in there, and that's dangerous.
Those floors are slippery on that back line too.
Yeah. Have you? Did I learn today that you worked at a fast food restaurant?
I did,
Ken
indeed.
Weaver?
When I was 19.
Yeah.
Worked at a Hardee's.
At a Hardee's. Did you ever have to do the fries?
I never had to do the fries. I was on front line. And I relayed the story to Murphy. I got a big plastic smiling heart that said, "We serve cholesterol-free fries," that I pinned to my lapel.
How could they be?
Deal.
Were they fried in peanut oil or something?
I don't know what the oil was, and I don't even know if they ever changed it out.
They probably just made the little button and kept on cooking.
Yeah.
But you know this. This weekend's fries are going to be fries like no one has ever seen before.
They're going to be the greatest fries known to mankind. Everyone agrees they're the best fries ever. Here's how that conversation went today on Fox and Friends. He showed up on the curvy couch at Fox and Friends today.
Either today or tomorrow, you're going to McDonald's. You're going to be working the fryer. Are you going to wear the paper hat?
There he is. He had, by the way, I edited this out because he asked the question like 2 or 3 times. But the hat, are you going to wear the hat? Steve Ducey couldn't let go of the hat.
I'm going to do everything. I tell you what.
You're going to do it.
A friend of mine owns
going to do it.
McDonald's someplace. Oh, I'm going. Because she lied.
You don't think she ever worked at McDonald's?
I know she did. We checked it out. Unless somebody comes up with something. We checked it out. They said she never worked here. She even picked the store. We went to the manager. The manager's been there forever. You remember her? No, she never worked here. They know. If I said I worked at McDonald's and it turned out not to be true, this would be the front page of that stupid New York Times, the worst paper. It is the worst rag. The New York Times is the worst, they would have me front page for months. Nobody, I can't get any. That's why I have to do it myself. That's why I'm doing it.
So you're going to get trained and you're going to make French fries?
Well, I don't know how much the training will be.
Not too much salt.
It's not going to be. Oh.
Not too much salt.
He sounded like he likes a lot of salt.
Well, hold it. Wait a minute. That's the best part of the French fry is the salt, is it not? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll just say, there's an art apparently to McDonald's fries. You don't want them. You don't want them over fried, and you don't want them under fried.
Yeah,
you got to get them fried just right.
Yeah.
Yep. That's right. Anyway, that'll be. I can't wait to see Donald Trump frying up French fries at a McDonald's this weekend. But apparently, it truly is going to happen.
Awesome.
It's time for the news now at 5:30 on Super Talk.
5:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now in Nashville, a man's in critical condition after shots were fired into a car near a park in broad daylight. Channel 4's Marissa Sulik says it happened shortly after noon today.
Metro Police say while the shooting started on Charlotte Pike, the victim and a family member drove here to Murphy Road and 40th Avenue North to get help. They say that the victim was in the back seat of this silver sedan when shots were fired. Metro Police say the shooting happened here on Charlotte Pike near 46th Avenue. This afternoon, we saw officers count about 9 shell casings scattered on the ground. Metro Police say the victim inside this silver sedan was shot several times. An employee at a nearby grocery store heard shouting, came outside, and saw the victim in the middle of the street.
Metro Police say the shooting appears to be targeted and a suspect is still at large. Right now in Nashville, 3 students are facing charges for taking guns to school today at East Nashville. A random search turned up guns in the backpacks of 2 11th graders. Then a third gun was found in a senior's car. All 3 teens charged with juvenile gun possession and other charges. Election 2024, it's the first week of early voting, and more than 30,000 people have cast their ballots in Davidson County so far. Some voters say voting machines were selecting a different candidate than the one they wanted. Elections Administrator Jeff Roberts explains fingers have to be just in the right spot, just like texting on a cell phone, he tells Channel 4. It's real easy to select the wrong letter.
The voter really needs to pay close attention that their choice is coming up. That's why they have a paper ballot also. They have many opportunities to make sure that their choice actually shows up and will be counted.
So to help, Davidson County officials have brought back stir sticks for voters to use. They'll be at every polling place the rest of early voting and on Election Day. Roberts says they were trying not to use them this year because of environmental concerns. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, TDOT is still showing debris in the way in the center lane of westbound 40 on the South Loop. And looking at 840 eastbound in Rutherford County, you got a crash blocking the right shoulder there at Sulphur Springs Road. That's going to be exit 57. Got a new crash here closer to Nashville. This one's 24 eastbound after Haywood Lane in Antioch. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Matt Murphy with Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 2024 is coming to a close, and what a great year it was. We are looking forward to an exciting 2025, and we want you to be a part of it. If you're looking for marketing or digital strategy for your business, we want to be on your team. It is a wonderful three-legged stool. You, me, and the listener, and we want to be a part of your family. So join us at 997wtn.com/epic to find out more, and we'll see you in 2025.
King & Associates Insurance is in Brentwood over 25 years as an independent agency, which is exactly what you need. It's exactly what you want. You want to do business with an independent agency because they don't just sell you the one product they have. They're going to look around, shop around on many, many, many different products and find that insurance policy that really, really just meets your need. And the end result is you're going to get more bang for your insurance dollar. Isn't that what you want? The best insurance for the least amount of money? Of course, that's what you want. Everybody wants that. When you call this number, 615-329-8121, you don't reach a call center. You get an actual human being every single time. No call tree, no recordings, no waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting online for hours to get the answer to some simple question. You get a human being who will take care of your question right away. Multi-policy discounts, they're known for that. They're the kings of bundling. 20, 25, 30, 35% savings are possible. So get your royal review with King & Associates Insurance. Log into tkinginsurance.com. King Insurance & Associates. You'll get royal treatment and great rates.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, No lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
I do everything from scrubbing cages to asking people for donations to answering the phones and helping facilitate getting animals to the rehab. I'm there on the weekends, up there taking care of animals with the team.
You got a great team there. It's a small team, but a great team that works together. And
Well, I started about 20 years ago. My dear friend Carol Burgess founded Harmony in Fairview.
Okay.
And we decided to reopen it in West Nashville. And we are rocking along. Lots of animals. One of the primary calls that we get are, I found a bird that's on the ground, what do I do? And in most situations, you should let it alone unless there's an imminent danger to that animal, because the parents are helping it and feeding it, and it just needs a couple of scary days on the ground until it gets back up into flight. What about bunnies, Melody? Can we give advice about bunnies?
The bunnies, they're just the sweetest, most innocent creatures, and we just see the worst things happen to them. Cats, dogs, lawnmowers, weed whackers.
In most cases, if the animals aren't injured, if you can put the rabbits back, that's always better to be with the mother rabbit than to come to us.
All the storms that have been coming through and just destroying nests, and a lot of babies will be found on the ground. Re-nesting is possible and preferable.
You play the video calls and you put the baby near where they found it, and the mama will actually come down and pick it up and then bring it back.
Oh, nice.
Isn't that cool?
Nice.
There it is. Oh, that festive music means it's time for the Three Amigos to gather. And I'm telling you, when they gather, you never know what's going to happen. No doubt at all. I mean, Amigo number one is Ken Weaver in the newsroom. Hello, Ken.
Good afternoon, boys.
That's good. He got the day part right. And then there's Chris Weber in the control room. Good afternoon, Chris. He's Amigo number two.
Good afternoon.
And I am Amigo number three. Together we make up the Three Amigos, and you never know what happened. The general the starting point is we all come with an unusual story, and we talk about it, and then you never know where you're going to go from there.
Yeah.
Clearly, we know where we're going to start. We never know where we're going to end up.
Oh, yeah. Cannot predict that. There is no clear path to the end of this segment.
There is not. All right. Who wants to go first today?
Well, I couldn't find an unusual story, but I did find something that I thought, looking forward to the holidays, might be helpful for your pocketbooks.
Okay, well, right. Let's save people some money. That's a noble idea there, Ken.
Oh, yes, I get a gold star by my name. Anyway, the grocery chain Aldi.
Oh yeah, I saw this. Yeah,
says it's offering a Thanksgiving meal for 10 for less than $50 this year.
Wow. That'd be $5 a plate or less.
That's right. Yeah, just under $5 a plate. $47 gets you a butterball turkey, gravy and rolls, mac and cheese, and pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin pie. Well, you
and
had
stuffing
me until
too.
Oh, you had me till you got to the pumpkin pie.
Yeah, I wonder
What's wrong with pumpkin pie?
Well, wonder if they'll let you switch it out for a pecan pie.
No, neither of those.
Well, you get no dessert, Mr. Wilson.
No. Listen, pies, let's just talk about what pies should be.
All right.
Pies should not have nuts in them because, this is a texture thing. I don't like nuts. And so no nuts whatsoever in the pie.
You're nuts, man.
No nuts. And pumpkin, I don't know. I just can't get it past my nose. I don't like the taste of it. I don't like the texture of it. I don't like the smell of it. So pumpkin and pecan or pecan, whichever way you want to say it, out. Pie should be ideally. I'll give you 4 pies that are acceptable.
All right.
Okay.
Cherry.
Yeah.
All right.
Apple.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Chocolate.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Lemon meringue.
I'll do that one too.
What about key lime?
Key lime has its charm.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't really think of key lime for Thanksgiving.
No, it's not a Thanksgiving pie.
Now, brother, what about a big old bunch of whipping cream on your pumpkin pie?
No, see, there will be no pumpkin pie. Well, I mean, there will be a pumpkin pie. I'm just not going to. I never partake of pumpkin pie. I don't like
for
it.
me. I love pumpkin pie. But you're right, Ken. You got to do a big old squirt of that whipped cream on top.
Yeah,
You got to do that. It just kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah, I think if you're going to eat pumpkin pie, I suppose you need to cover up the taste with something.
But that's a pretty good bargain, I would think.
That's not bad.
No, that's a heck of a deal, right?
You
there.
could throw in a couple more bucks and whip you up a green bean casserole.
Yeah, there you go.
And then you're set.
And speaking of which, Brother Chris, the ingredients for sweet potato casserole, green bean casserole come with this deal.
Well, there you go. I mean,
Nice.
you can't ask for a better deal than that.
It's actually really good. Yeah, last year in 2023, the cost of a Thanksgiving feast for 10 was $61.17.
Now, did they say stuffing or did they say dressing? Very important question.
Yeah, they're saying stuffing.
No!
Well, but you could use that stuffing to then make dressing, probably.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Cornbread dressing is the only correct answer.
Yeah. 100% on that one. We agree on that.
Yeah, with some giblet gravy.
Oh, yes, sir.
Oh, man, I
Yes.
can't wait. I can't wait. Well, okay, I like that story. That took us down some interesting pathways. You want to go, Chris? You want me to go?
Yeah, I'll go next.
Okay.
We see stories pretty often, especially here in Nashville, about people trying to sneak their drugs through the airport, right?
Yeah, all the time, and they get caught every
it's
time.
Like, come on, people. Suitcase full of 50, 60 pounds of weed or whatever it is. Well, this one tops that. This comes from not Nashville, but Philadelphia International Airport, and this was a couple weeks ago. But it was a man from Columbia County, Pennsylvania. He tried to go through TSA, and one of the TSA checkpoint scanners alerted that the man was hiding something under his clothes. So the agent then asked him to remove whatever item it was from his person, and it turned out to be a shotgun shell that had been tampered with and filled with a white powdered substance that turned out to be methamphetamine. So, I mean, just think about this for a minute. Not only are you trying to take drugs through the TSA checkpoint, you're doing so in a shotgun shell.
Right.
That is also prohibited.
Yeah, you can't do that either.
Nobody will know.
It's just baffling to me. TSA Federal Security Director at the Philly Airport, Gerardo Sparrow, said, "It's disappointing to see individuals attempt to hide items on their person or among their carry-on items in an attempt to conceal them. We're not looking for drugs, but when we come across them, we alert law enforcement and let them handle the situation." He obviously was arrested, and his identity, however, was not released. Probably to save him from just the embarrassment. I mean, what a bonehead.
I wonder what he's going to try to sneak into prison.
That's a pretty dumb guy right there.
Yeah, this is a good place for us to get in the shotgun shell.
Yeah, put it in a shotgun shell. They'll never look for that. Oh, my goodness. All right, I got two, and I'll tell one real quickly. It's a quick story. A man is flying a paraglider over the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt.
Oh, I saw this.
And he flies over the very top of it, and he's got a camera. And down below, at the very top, I mean, if you ever seen the Great Pyramid of Giza, it's huge.
Yep.
At the very top, at the very pinnacle of the pyramid, there was a dog. Now, how in the heck did the dog get up there? Is the question.
Wow.
And you know, how does the dog get down? I don't know, but I mean, it was like a pretty good sized dog, not like a little dog, a pretty good sized dog, all the way at the top of the pyramid.
Yep.
Interesting.
The story I saw, I think I saw this correctly, said that he was chasing birds and barking at the birds, and just ended up. I guess he just climbed all the way up to the top of this thing to bark at the birds. And then I did see, I think today, that he did make it safely back to the ground.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very determined pup he was.
Did you know there are 117 pyramids in Egypt?
Wow. I didn't know the exact number.
Yeah, I've never been to them. I've flown over them. I remember one time we flew into Egypt on Air Force One, and that's the closest I got was looking out the window.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw the great pyramids of Egypt that are, near Cairo.
The funny thing is how they're literally right next to the city. I mean, you see these pyramids, and it looks like they're in the middle of the desert. But you look from the other direction, and there's the city right there.
Yeah, it is. It's really close. We landed, and later that day, I ended up getting into a tussle with Egyptian security personnel.
Uh-oh.
It was not a pretty good day.
Do you have your meth in a shotgun shell or something?
No. I just they were trying to stop me from going to a press conference, and I wasn't having it.
No, sir.
And they put their hands all over me. Let's put it that way. A Russian man was rescued in the stormy sea of Okhotsk after surviving more than 2 months in a tiny inflatable boat that lost its engine. Now, also on that little dinghy was his brother and his nephew, and they died.
Oh, good grief.
Wow.
He was 540 nautical miles away from where he started. The engine died. They couldn't get it started. They were drifting, and 2 of them died. He lost over the period of the time that he was on that dinghy. There was some food, some small amount of food, and it's a small amount of water, but he lost 110 pounds.
Wow.
Half of his body weight. He was around 220 when he started.
Good thing.
Yeah. When the crew of the fishing vessel spotted the tiny inflatable boat, they thought it was a buoy or a piece of junk. They turned on the spotlight, and there was this guy named Pachugin. Pachugin was waving at him and said, hey, come get me. And he said, I have no strength left, so they had to pull him out of there. Wow. He didn't have the strength to get out on his own. They have launched an investigation of the incident on charges of violation of safety rules that resulted in deaths. He was taken to a hospital. And Chief Dr. Yuri Lednev told reporters he was suffering from dehydration and hypothermia, but was in stable condition.
Wow.
Interesting.
For 2 months adrift in the ocean waters.
With corpses.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
You don't want to ask too many questions about the corpses. Russian media reported the trio had a small food ration and about 20 liters of water when their engine failed and they found themselves adrift.
Now, what were they doing were they fishing? Did it say?
They were, let's see. I saw it. They were trying to travel to Shantar Islands off the northwestern shore of the Sea of Okhotsk in early August. They went missing after setting off for Sakhalin Island from Cape Perovsky. Thank you for making me say all these words. In the Khabarovsk region, a rescue effort was launched, but they failed to find them back in August.
Wow.
How about that?
Man.
Lucky.
August, September, October. Not a good time to be in the Sea of Okhotsk.
No, it's not.
Wow. Yeah, and Ken, you said it. It's lucky the guy was of substantial size before this. I mean, that's probably what saved him. He had that weight to lose. Wow.
Yeah. I don't want to ask too many questions about what happened to the survivors. Yeah, you don't want to know. You probably don't want to ask that question.
Goodness.
All right, we'll call it 50 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock on Super Talk. About the folks over at Stoltzko, they're the people who do pole barns. If you want a pole barn, the 2 brothers that run Stoltzko are the 2 guys you need to talk to. Known for exceptional quality, craftsmanship, and fair prices, they can build your new pole barn to your specifications with your needs in mind. That is the Stoltzko difference. A question for you. They want to know, do you have some land? Are you building anything on it? Well, why not? Invest in that land. Build something. Do something with the land, right? Do something with your money. Get a barn dominium. Now, that'd be cool. You could use it on weekends, a place to hang out on the weekends to get away from the city. People live in barn dominiums. They're very cool. Everybody wants a barn dominium. And, maybe it's a place where you retire someday. Pole barns, Well, they can be used as garages, tool barns. How about this? How about building an equestrian space for your horsies? That's right. That'd be good. How about using the folks at Stoltzco to build yourself an event space or a place to hang out on weekends? They can do all of that. Just go to their website, stoltzco.com, STOLTZCO.com. Take a look at what they've done for other people, and you'll get the idea. And then you're going to want to call them, 615-622-5992. Learn more by going to the website, stoltzco.com. That's stoltzco.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
It doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
You know, we don't have to wait until November to start taking our country back. We can get into the fight right now with Coin, the conservative credit card. Instead of funneling millions to the left like other cards, Coin advances conservative values and charities. You can earn cash back while fighting back. Apply now at coin.com. That's COIGN.com. It's spelled a little strange. COIGN.com. I've got one in my pocket. You get one in yours. Terms apply. Go to coin.com/disclosures for full details.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now in Nashville, Channel 4 says police counted at least 9 shell casings where someone fired shots into a car driving on Charlotte Pike near 46th Avenue around lunchtime today. Someone in the back seat was shot multiple times. This employee at a nearby grocery store telling Channel 4 he heard people shouting outside and he went to help, saw the victim in the middle of the street.
He seemed to be unresponsive. I'm not sure, though. It did not look very good.
Police looking for a suspect. A tourist from Wisconsin is dead after a car plowed into a crowd of people downtown last night. Several of his relatives are hospitalized. Channel 4's Dryden Quigley reports a witness narrowly missed getting hit.
It was just after midnight when Amanda Atkins was standing here getting ready to cross the street. A car came speeding down Commerce and jumped the curb, going onto the sidewalk.
That's where the Weinke family was waiting for their ride share. The car ran into Leroy Weinke, his wife, his sister-in-law, and his brother-in-law. Witnesses say Leroy went flying and hit his head on the sidewalk. He was taken to the hospital where he died. Amanda said she tried to help after the crash, but Leroy's injuries were too severe.
Tried to see, but once I seen the head injury and what his noggin looked like, I couldn't proceed. I've never experienced anything like this before, not to this magnitude.
Police say the driver is John Williams. It was his 25th birthday. They say he had 3 passengers in his car. None of them had severe injuries. When police got there, they say Williams was slurring his words and could barely walk. He faces many charges, including vehicular homicide by intoxication and 3 counts of vehicular assault. Election 2024, both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris campaigning in Michigan today.
In Hamtramck, Michigan, the former president was praised by the city's mayor, a Yemeni immigrant and a Democrat.
The Democrats keep sending to our communities to scare them.
Mayor Amr Ghalib has endorsed Trump, and he asked the former president to address fears that if he's elected, he'll deport Muslims.
They have so many things that they've said about me, and nothing sticks. Is this the new one?
Trump went on to call the Muslims of Hamtramck great people and great workers. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
And Ferrari, working to keep its legacy on the right path, unveils its latest wow car.
It's the first supercar released by the powerhouse Italian maker in 11 years. Ferrari's F80 is also the racing company's most powerful road car. It packs nearly 1,200 horsepower and a hybrid electric powertrain. The sleek and slim-styled vehicle will also be exclusive. Only 400 will be made. For those wanting a piece of history, the hot speedster will cost just under $4 million. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Once you do make it out of the downtown loop, look for this. If you're eastbound 24, there is a multi-vehicle crash. It is blocking the left lane and the left shoulder, 24 eastbound, right there before Harding Place. And then down in Rutherford County, still seeing that problem on 840 eastbound, just past 24, but it's backing up westbound 24 to go eastbound on 840. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire...
Good evening, everyone. It is 7 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Brian Wilson in the chair and on the air all the way till 7 o'clock. Then Mark Levin will take over after the news. It's, he'll carry on through the evening. So we get a lot of information to share with you. So set back. We're going to give you stuff that you haven't heard about and give you a little information so that you'll go home and you will wow the fam with the knowledge that you've obtained by listening to this very radio station. All right. I want to take you to a thing that happened last night in New York City. New York City. Yeah, New York City. And here's the thing. This is a tradition. And it goes back, and it's been one that's been honored for a lot of years. It's called the Al Smith Political Dinner. It's a roast kind of thing. Everybody shows up. No kidding. The guys wear white tie and tails. That's how formal it is. And the women dressed in the beautiful gowns. And it's a Catholic event, and it's for Catholic charities that do good in the world. And by tradition, over the years, in election years where we're electing a president, presidential candidates show up at this dinner almost universally, Democrat, Republican alike, and it's sort of they make humorous comments. It's a moment where perhaps you employ some comedy writers to write you a few good jokes, and Trump shows up. Kamala Harris sends in a video. Now, the last time a Democrat did not show up at this dinner who wanted to be president was Walter Mondale. So you know how that ended up. And because it is a Catholic basic event, and a lot of Catholics and Jewish political figures, they show up as well at this dinner. But they had Jim Gaffigan, I think, is kind of one of the host of the thing. The comedian, Jim Gaffigan, he's so funny. I think between him and Nate Bargatze, they're my two favorite comedians. You know why? Because they're both very funny, and they're both work clean.
Clean, yeah.
They work clean. But Jim Gaffigan, is well known, is very Catholic, and I think he's got like 7 kids or something. I don't know. He's got a bunch of them. And he was speaking at the event, and he sort of took aim at Kamala Harris.
22% of Americans identify as Catholic. Catholics will be a key demographic in every battleground state. I'm sorry, why is Vice President Harris not here? I mean, consider this. This is a room full of Catholics and Jews in New York City. This is a layup for the Democratic nominee. I mean, in her defense, she did find time to appear on The View, Howard Stern, Colbert, and the longtime staple of campaigning, the Call Her Daddy podcast. You know what I think it is? I think she doesn't like me. Chuck, do I have bad breath?
Turning to Chuck Schumer. Yeah, Chuck Schumer showed up. I mean, Democrats and Republicans alike show up at this thing. And then Gaffigan went a step further and making, I think, a very interesting, not only comedic, but political point.
The Democrats have been telling us Trump's reelection is a threat to democracy. In fact, they were so concerned of this threat, they staged a coup.
Now, think about that for a moment. He's absolutely right. They accused Trump of being a threat to democracy. But, they completely abandoned the Democrat process by throwing out the person who was democratically chosen by the voters and replacing him with Kamala Harris. That's not very democratic. That's a threat to democracy in its own right. But he continued.
Ousted their democratically elected incumbent and installed Kamala Harris. In other words, all her dreams have come true. Really? It really makes you consider the power of prayer, right, Cardinal? Sometimes prayers take 3.5 years and a George Clooney op-ed.
I think that's a shrewd observation. I love Jim Gaffigan. But Trump also spoke. I've edited this down for time, but he came after Kamala Harris in a somewhat humorous way.
I would not have missed the Al Smith dinner for anything in the world. I still remember coming here. The two candidates for president are supposed to exchange good-natured barbs, and we get along very well. I didn't like Biden very much, and now I like him quite a bit. But if you really wanted Vice President Harris to accept your invitation, I guess you should have told her the funds were going to bail out the looters and rioters in Minneapolis, and she would have been here, guaranteed she would have been here. Guaranteed. She would have been okay. She would have been okay with that.
Now, there is a bit of a minor kerfuffle that's erupting in that apparently Trump has said that some of the people at Fox helped him write his jokes, which would be sort of inappropriate. And you're supposed to be neutral as a news organization. Fox has said that's not true. But, who knows? Somebody, could have said, hey, I got a great line for you, but it could have been very informal. But he said he got some help from Fox, and Fox says, no, that didn't happen. Well, the Democrats are going to make a lot out of that. Of course they will. This is interesting. I heard him talking about this morning on Fox and Friends. He sat on the curvy couch. I was on the curvy couch one time, and I didn't feel comfortable there. It didn't fit me. It's
not made for the large man.
It's not made for the man with the abundant bottom. It's just really not. I don't know what it was, but I mean, I couldn't get comfortable on that couch. Former President Donald Trump's campaign is in talks with former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, according to CNN, to join him on the trail in the final days of the 2024 race as he seeks to broaden his appeal among female voters. Two sources familiar with the talks have told CNN. No events have been finalized. However, some of the discussions have centered on a potential joint appearance at a Fox News town hall in late October. The talks were first reported by The Bulwark. I don't know what that is. Trump had held a number of town hall moderated by prominent Republican women, including Governors Sarah Huckabee Sanders and Kristi Noem. However, GOP operatives acknowledged Haley would draw a different kind of voter. The gender gap is real. It really is. It is real. And one source told, close to Trump, told CNN, Haley attracts a different kind of voter. She gets a lot of positive media coverage and appeals to women who are uncertain about Donald Trump. We're seeing Republican candidates struggle with women, and that includes Donald Trump, said one GOP operative. Haley helps with that. So, they have had their disagreements. And Donald Trump definitely, and Nikki Haley, although they once worked together in the previous administration, she served as the UN ambassador and was, had a high-profile role in the Trump administration. They got crossways, I guess, during the primaries, but Trump. I will say this about Trump: I don't think he long holds a grudge. I don't get that sense. I mean, I think maybe for some people, he might have a grudge, people who he feels have truly wronged him. But in the battle of politics, he is quick to forgive people. I mean, he's kissed and made up with Ron DeSantis and others. So, maybe this would be, I think this would be a good thing to get him on the campaign trail and get her out on the campaign trail. It couldn't hurt. It would, at the very least, it would allow the Republican Party to heal somewhat. Democrats in tight Senate races run ads touting their work with Donald Trump. What? It's not exactly the behavior you'd expect from candidates who believe their nominee is winning, the Trump campaign has said. Ads have been released that show 4 Democrat Senate candidates in battleground states either working with former President Donald Trump or agreeing with his messaging as the November election is less than a month away. Campaign ads for Representative Elissa Slotkin of Michigan, Senator Sherrod Brown of Ohio, who is maybe going to lose, Senator Bob Casey of Pennsylvania, and Senator Tammy Baldwin in Wisconsin. As you heard maybe earlier, she's only leading in that race in Wisconsin by 1 point. Well, they're touting their willingness to work with Trump. That is fascinating. I mean, if you think your candidate, the Democrat, is winning, then why would you not want to be associated with her and be more interested in being associated with Donald Trump? Tells you something that, their deep polling has told them something about that. And they want to be looked at as moderates. Tammy Baldwin is anything but a moderate. Sherrod Brown is anything but a moderate. But isn't it interesting? Just like Kamala Harris runs ads featuring Trump's border wall, these Democrats are now saying, well, I can work with Trump. I could work with anybody. We could get along. That's very interesting. Very interesting. Those Senate races have really tightened up, some of them. And then this story, I think, is pretty interesting. We talked about this, I think, yesterday, that there was a rare copy of the U.S. Constitution found in a filing cabinet in North Carolina. They had an auction for it, and the opening bid was $1 million. Apparently, there were 10 bids in total, and the final price when they slammed the hammer down. Chris, do you want to make a guess?
Well, I could make a guess, but I already know how much it went for. It was well over $1 million.
Yeah, $9 million.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah. The final price, including the buyer's premium, was $11 million.
Wow.
But they paid $9 million was the bid, but then you have to pay a certain amount to the people who are conducting the auction. To go from a filing cabinet in Edenton, North Carolina, to being sold for $11 million is quite a journey.
Wonder if he got the can of stain that was on top of it.
Yeah, that's right.
As well.
Nearly 237-year-old document was found in a nondescript squat metal filing cabinet at Hayes Farm, a 184-acre plantation in Edenton, North Carolina. In 2022, the property was being cleared out after being sold to the state to be converted to a public historic site, and a copy of the Constitution was found in a filing cabinet. And on top of the filing cabinet was an old can of stain, which if it had somehow gotten down into that filing cabinet could have ruined a document that later sold for $9 million.
Wonder if it was aged oak or rusty pecan stain.
I think probably, golden oak. I think that.
Yeah.
About 100 of the U.S. Constitutions were printed after a heated debate at the site of what is now the Federal Hall National Memorial in New York City. Congress resolved to send it to the states for ratification. Only a handful of those copies are known to be in existence, including the one on Thursday. Most of them are owned by public entities, but this one is now in private hands. I bet you Elon got it. What do you want to bet?
Well, I mean,
Yeah. I mean, $9 million for him is like,
That's
he's
nothing.
got that on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Just
right.
Count out some $100 bills.
That's right. It's 20 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock. All right, let the team at Restoration Wellness help you achieve your health goals. Restoration Wellness is a leader in weight loss management in Wilson County. Just call the Restoration Wellness team today at 615-470-8124 or visit them at their website, restorationwellnessmedspa.com, to book a consultation today. Now, my friends Carly and Jamie will take good care of you like you're part of the family. Be a part of the 1,000 patients, probably more by now, they've already seen life-changing results from the weight loss management program there. You can gain your confidence back. Weight loss can increase your energy levels, improve your quality of sleep, and enhance your overall health. Customizable treatment plans are made here. It's not just one size fits all. Restoration Wellness considers your unique needs, lifestyle, and goals. They asked me all those questions, came up with a plan, and it's working for me. Down, are you ready? 33 pounds rather. Whether your goal is to lose stubborn body fat or improve your overall health, Restoration Wellness has a solution for you. The newest techniques in weight loss management can be found at the Restoration Wellness and Med Spa. Their website, restorationwellnessmedspa.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
The dual power of radio and digital advertising on Super Talk 99.7 WTN has always delivered for our local advertisers. Now's your chance to book your 2025 marketing campaign early for savings and incentives. Just reach out today to your local ad representative or go to 997wtn.com/epic.
Well, you know, we've been trying to keep our tabs on what's going on in North Carolina and eastern Tennessee with the result of the floods. And we got a little break in that regard because a longtime friend of this program and sponsor on this program, Dr. Kevin Mitchell from the Wellness Institute of Nashville, is there taking a bunch of goods over to the people who are so in need there. We talked to him earlier today. Dr. Mitchell, thanks for joining us here on The Drive. First of all, the stuff that you're taking down here, the goods that you're dropping off that are helping people, this was raised at that concert the other day, correct?
It 100% was, and we also delivered hay to Pigeon Forge and feed for horses and animals, and we got supplies and heaters for RVs because some of these homes, it's kind of sad that they're. Just give me a second. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, I can tell you're looking at a lot of damage, and you know you can only when you're there, your heart goes out to people who are really struggling because they have lost everything. Tell me some of the things that you've seen that have sort of stuck with you.
Well, we're seeing big pits where homes used to be. And this is in Valley Forge, and it's pushing the septic systems up to the top. And I guess there's some sewer and contamination, and everyone says don't drink the water.
Yeah.
But literally, I was talking to a guy here, and he said the water coming off the Jenkins Mountain was the width of a football field and 8 to 10 feet high.
Good Lord.
And it all came together and just flooded what's called the river bottom here at Valley Forge. And there were 4 trailers taken out and one home totally destroyed and multiple buildings and the Long Hollow Bridge. I don't know if you've seen that, but that's destroyed. And the hardest thing is the little kids' toys. Seeing the toys throughout and the sand. There's so much sand that just came up from this and that's under the homes. And there's a lot of people that can't afford to rebuild.
Yeah, and probably didn't have any flood insurance because they never imagined they would need it.
And I don't think some of them can afford it.
Yeah, that's probably true.
So you have poverty on top of devastation. But on the good point of this is I've never seen so many people work together, especially young people and churches. And, with some of the older people, I think they're just devastated. They're on retirement income, and the young people's coming in saving the day. They're giving them hope, and the women at the churches are supplying foods free in the landfill. We've been taking stuff to the landfill, and it's there's no charge today. It's open a couple extra hours, and I saw the National Guard hauling in stuff. So everyone's pulling together in a very good spirit to save this community.
All right. Well, you were down there as a private citizen, doing good work there. There have been a lot of other private charities that have been down. As you say, a lot of churches have really answered the call. Have you seen FEMA?
I haven't seen them. I've heard some people say, they've stopped in and said they need to have a conversation. I've heard other people say they don't want them. It's kind of a mixed feelings. Some people are saying, that they've stopped in, but I personally haven't seen them. What I've seen is 99% of regular people like you and I and our communities coming together. And I'm on a 4-wheeler with a little wagon, and my buddy Quentin, who has his tractor here, and we have a grapple, and we're grabbing trees and putting septic tanks down the ground. We got the back of a house foundation from collapsing in and put blocks under it. And these people are so poor. They can't afford to, they gutted this house and they're going to try to live in it. It's covered in mold.
It's very, very, very concerning. Well, Dr. Kevin Mitchell, thank you for going down there and trying to do your part. And I really do appreciate it. People have said that you just can't describe it. Do you subscribe to that position? I mean, is it so overwhelming that it's just hard to describe, that the pictures really don't do it justice?
I've never seen anything like it. And it's, we had a tornado and the flood in Nashville, but this is pretty bad here at the river bottom, I can tell you that. And tomorrow we're going to Cranberry, and I hear that's pretty bad as well. So we're just kind of hitting one community at a time and spending the weekend over here, but I've never seen anything like this. Like, I've never seen a house get pulled up and there's a 12 to 20-foot pit. I've never seen that.
Yeah. That's Dr. Kevin Mitchell reporting today from Eastern Tennessee, where he's taking some very much needed supplies to people who have suffered and lost everything. It's 31 minutes past the hour now. You know, it's a spooky season. Don't be tricked. Let Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, your Rude Pro partner, treat your family They have a couple of contests for you to enter in the month of October. You think you got a scary furnace? Well, tag Busy Bee with your scary furnace picture on any of the social media platforms for a chance to win a date night on them. 2 Preds tickets and dinner for 2. Winners announced November 1st. How about a Beehive membership? All you have to do is carve a pumpkin of Buzz the Bee, their mascot, and then post and tag Busy Bee on any social media platform. As a Beehive member, you'll receive 3 annual tune-ups, 1 aimed at cooling, 1 aimed at heating, 1 aimed at plumbing, 10% discount on all repairs, priority front-of-the-line service, $100 annual max accrued replacement credit up to $1,000 max, and no overtime or holiday fees, all for as little as $99. For satisfaction guaranteed, call Busy Bee HVAC, your Rude Pro partner, 775-7833, or visit busybehvac.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
"37 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I'm Brian Wilson, your friend and radio buddy, and we're with you for another, 22 minutes or so before we hang it up in the last hour of the last show of this week and head into the weekend. Hope you've had a good week. Let's get her taken home. Let's send this sucker home. You ready? Bunch of different stories, a bunch of different stuff that we're going to be covering here in the last few minutes, what I like to call cleanup. We're doing cleanup on Isle Wilson. The stories that I just wanted to get in that I haven't had a chance to do so. Texas Department of Public Safety officers say that they're continuing to arrest men from countries of concern, including, are you ready, Iran. Increased terrorism threats in the last year and the greatest number of illegal border crossers identified on the terrorist watch list have pushed President Joe Biden to extend national emergency orders by executive order. The irony in his policies have exacerbated all threats. This is from Sarah Carter and her staff. Under the Biden-Harris administration, the greatest number of illegal border crossers on the terrorist watch list have come into the country in the U.S. Now, recent arrests raised serious concerns about the ongoing threat that ISIS and its fanatical supporters pose to national security, as well as the shortfall in the Biden-Harris administration's screening and vetting capabilities. House Committee on Homeland Security Chairman Mark Green said, the committees also remain concerned about the threats of a lone wolf actor on multiple actors attempting to commit a terrorist act on U.S. soil. But what's interesting is that, are we getting the straight poop from the Biden administration about the people that are coming through there? Maybe not. But one thing we know is that the Texas Department of Public Safety is apparently, they're doing their own independent enforcement down on the border because they don't like what's happening with the federal response. And so they are still encountering people that should not be here in this country who come from countries of real concern. By the way, again, this is This is from the Sarah Carter website. House Committee Chairman Mark Green demands that the DHS disclose the status of the border surveillance cameras. He issued a letter to Secretary Mayorkas setting a deadline of 5 p.m. Wednesday, October 23rd, for the DHS to provide documents and information regarding the camera system's functionality. We've been hearing that the cameras don't work, that they have a bunch of cameras that are out, and he wants to know exactly what the situation is and wants to be done. One of the things we found out in the initial reporting on this is, who knows why, we have these cameras along the border, and they are maintained by, of all people, the Federal Aviation Administration. Why that is doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. But apparently they are the ones responsible for keeping them running, and apparently we're hearing from the Border Patrol, and anecdotally, that a lot of the cameras don't work. Well, we count on those cameras to send the Border Patrol to interdict these people when they see somebody coming across on the cameras. They send the Border Patrol down. Sometimes, we know, for example, that we see them on the camera, we can't get to them. And they come into this country and are never interdicted, and they just, dissolve into the fabric of the nation. And we don't know where they are. We don't know who they are. We don't know what they're up to. It's really a real concern. Now comes word that there's going to be a lot of things going on that we don't know anything about because the damn cameras aren't working. Come on. It's like they're trying to be incompetent. Trying hard. An internal CBP memo obtained by the media had exposed that about 1/3 of the cameras along the southwest border were non-operational. 1/3. Please explain to me how this happens. According to a Gallup poll, the Gallup poll is considered the gold standard of polling organizations. They have a story here that I'm reporting from the Washington Times. Most Americans say their families are worse off than 4 years ago, according to a Gallup poll that finds economic concerns at a level not seen since Bill Clinton won the presidency in 1992. Bill Clinton was thought of as the guy who would come in and fix the economy in 92. And I think today, the person who's thought of as who would come in and fix the economy is they look at Donald Trump because they saw what he did in a previous administration. But listen to this number. This is the environment under which this election is being held. Gallup reported Friday, today, that 52% of adults responding to a recent survey said they and their families were in poorer shape financially than before President Biden took office. That's the highest in presidential election surveys going back to 1984. And the most since 46% said the same amount in October of 92. Wow. That's a very high number. 52% say they're worse off than they were. That's an interesting metric, isn't it? I mean, what do most people do if history is our guide? If history is our guide, we find that most people will vote their economic interest. They'll vote their pocketbooks. What was it they said back in 92 when Clinton won? It was James Carville who came up with the phrase, "It's the economy, stupid." They put it in their war room. They put it up on a big wall, on a big sign on the wall to remind them that it's always about the economy. It's always about the economy. It's always about the economy. I think what was true in 92 is true today, and that is fascinating that Gallup says that's where we are. 62% say, you ready? That the economy is getting worse, that it's not improving. That under that environment, you gotta believe that Donald Trump is going to do well and Kamala Harris. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, the polls show it's so tight, but maybe it's not. When people really get down to it, they will vote their best interest. Don't know why. But Cuba's electrical grid went completely offline today. I'm talking the entire grid. The island's major power plants failed, and a massive blackout that started a day earlier swept across the Caribbean island. Cuba's energy ministry announced the grid had gone down hours after Antonio Gutierrez A thermoelectric plant ceased operations around 11 a.m. Authorities said at the time it was only offline temporarily. Hours earlier, Prime Minister Manuel Marrero had sought to assuage concerns about citizens about the outage that began Thursday evening. Millions of Cubans left without power, prompting the government Friday to implement emergency measures to slash demand, including suspending classes, shutting down some state-owned workplaces, and canceling non-essential services. Various calls by the AP to clarify the extent of the blackout on Friday weren't answered. In addition to the Antonio Gutierrez plant, Cuba has several others, and it wasn't immediately clear whether they remain online and functional or not. Wow. About 1.64 gigawatts went alive during peak hours early Thursday evening, about half the total demand that they use on a daily basis in Cuba. But apparently the situation not good. You know, isn't it amazing that Cuba, 90 miles off our coast, so much goes on there, we really don't know. We don't have good ways of knowing for sure. I'm sure our intelligence agencies do. But you know, things happen in Cuba all the time we don't hear anything about. That's because they don't have a free and fair press. And we may get irritated at our press sometimes, but, you know, we would report about a blackout. We wouldn't hide that information. You know, there are saying you talk about the press, and look, it's fair to be critical of the press and the way they cover politics. But you really have to say from time to time how lucky we are that we have a press corps that can report stuff. I mean, they can't report what's going on in a truthful way in Cuba. At least here, a blackout, a flood, those kinds of things. We're going to get, you know, pretty accurate information from the press corps at some point or another. Upside-down car loans owned by Americans hit an all-time high, another indication of just how bad the economy is. An increasing number of U.S. citizens with auto loans now have debts that exceeded the vehicle's value. In other words, the loan is upside down. Share of Americans who are upside down on their auto loans is on the rise, says Edmunds. Upside down loans are debts when the borrower's loan balance is higher than the value of the car. In the third quarter of this year, 24.2% of old vehicles traded in for new ones had negative equity, up from 18.5% the same year. Customers who are underwater on their car loans owe more money than ever before. The average amount owed on upside-down loans climbed to an all-time high of $6,458, $6,458, compared with $6,255 in quarter two of 2024. That's an indication that when you owe that much money and on a car, you have a car that's not worth what you got into it. Means you can't get out from underneath that car. You can't trade it in. It has no value.
Brian, I've been astounded. I've seen commercials for new vehicle loan programs for 84 months.
Yeah.
And I just thought, wow, really? I had no idea they even did them that long.
I tell you, when used vehicles had so much value, remember when that was not long ago?
Oh, yeah,
during the
pandemic,
you could make. I traded in my Chevy pickup, and I ended up getting a Ford pickup, and I paid for half of the new pickup with my Chevy, and then I put the rest of it on a 3-year loan, so that I back the other day I paid it off. I don't have a car payment right now. But because it all goes back to that Chevy having so much value.
Yep.
Now, I don't know. I mean, right now, of course, I'm not upside down because my car's paid off and I've only got about 40,000 miles on it. So
nice.
Not bad. Mm-hmm. I love that. I love not having a car payment. All right. Very quickly, I'm going to try to summarize this story because I can't get into it deeply. We sent a B-2 stealth bomber over to Yemen and bombed the crap out of the Houthis. They had some deeply protected underground bunkers where they had all of their heavy equipment, and we destroyed it with B-2 bombers and mop bombs, which are massive ordnance penetrators, bunker busters. And the reason this is like the first time we've used the B2 in active combat operations in years, but the message was really aimed at Iran. The message was, we have B2 bombers, and we can take out anything you have, including your nuclear program. I hope the message was received. I think it probably was. 50 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk. Grace Point Healthcare, affordable, convenient, and comprehensive medicine delivered the old-fashioned way. That's what you want, right? They have basic smart care plans that start at $69 a month. It includes free office visits, free basic labs, and diagnostic tests for a full year. At Grace Point, you're usually seen the same day or the next day, and there are no long wait times or in the waiting room. And Grace Point is your primary provider that treats the entire family from newborns to seniors. Now, fall allergy season is definitely here. Are you feeling it? Don't suffer through another seasonal change. Get complete testing and treatment and enjoy the beauty of fall this year. Listen, Grace Point is a military vet-owned practice located in the heart of Franklin. Here's the number, 615-599-6868, to schedule your next medical appointment. Grace Point Healthcare, modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way.